point accommodation. Councillor McClafferty says this is a reality for many. He's calling on the government to step in.
This should not be happening. The government needs to step in here. The government needs to make allowances. They should have kept places open for our students, and now just a mess going forward. And it's very sad to see, to be honest with you, that a sampling stage of now, there is no room at the end, and I don't see it getting any better. Only worse, to be fair, once we head on into the months ahead.
Today will see the opening of the shorefront amenity on Arnmore Island. The development of the recreation, outdoor amenity and amphitheatre is part of the €4.1 million Burton Port and Arnmore Harbour to Island Rural Regeneration Project. Minister Heather Humphreys will officiate the opening. Councillor Micheál Colmcgill Osberg says it's a monumental day for West Donegal.
It's amazing. We have a fantastic state-of-the-art play area. We have an open-air venue, which I would imagine there's not one like it. What spectacular view right on the coast. It's just amazing. We can hold up to anything up to about 300 people here. It's just such a fantastic project that's been on the go for a very, very long time. And here we are at the very day that we're cutting ribbon and opening it officially.
Weather now largely dry today with sunny spells and just a few showers. Highest temperatures of 18 to 20 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
I'm not the kind of person who wants to sit in a metal box. I don't want to slowly die in traffic. I want to ride a motorbike. And I want to keep riding a motorbike. I don't want to suddenly die in traffic. I'm not the kind of person who wants to lie in a wooden box.
Biking is a joy. Don't let it kill you. A third of bikers who have died on our roads were speeding. So ease off the throttle and keep within the speed limit. From the Road Safety Authority.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. 3 minutes past 9 on this Friday, the 22nd of July. I do hope you're well, and hopefully you're with us for the next 3 hours in this programme and throughout the day, of course, here on Highland Radio. Our Friday panel is joining us very, very shortly to discuss some of the big topics of the week. We want you to have your say, though. Get involved in the conversation. WhatsApp and text to 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. Emails to comments at highlandradio.com. Now, if you want to watch the programme today and watch our contributors as well, go to our website, highlandradio.com. You can join us there, or you can go directly to our social media channels. That's Highland Radio Ireland on YouTube, or Highland Radio News and Sport on Facebook. We're on Twitter as well, so there's no excuse not to get involved. Okay, let's start saying hello to our guests then this morning. We'll say hello first to Grania Hines, member of Letterkenny Active Retirement. Good morning to you, Grania.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you keeping today?
Very good, lovely.
Very good indeed. And also Lorraine Thompson, Regional Director of the Donegal Youth Services. Good morning to you, Lorraine.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and Damien Dowds is just joining the conversation now as we speak. Right, the Taoiseach has said AIB should reconsider and reflect on its decision to remove cash facilities at 70 branches around the country. Earlier this week, the bank said 70 of its 170 branches would be turned into cashless outlets as a result of what it claimed is declining demand for these services. In Donegal, Ballybofey, Ballyshannon, Buncrana, Carndonagh, Dunlow and Killybegs are all to go cashless. It'll also see the removal of the ATM services also. Speaking in Asia earlier this week, Micheál Martin said, while he understands that as a society we are moving towards a more cashless one, many towns need this facility. The opposition has also launched a petition for the decision to be reversed. Lorraine, will AIB change its mind? And I suppose, is this the direction of travel that we're going in, and can it or should it be avoided?
Certainly a lot of pressure. There's a lot of narrative in the news about this story. I do think we are moving to a more cashless society. I personally couldn't tell you the last time I was in my own bank, but I'm au fait with, the online technologies. I have the banking app on my phone, so I don't need to go in. But I do understand that it's going to have a huge impact on rural communities, on pockets of our society who want to use cash. There's still a lot of businesses out there, Greg, that do want to use cash, and it's really challenging in a lot of towns to go and find an ATM. I don't understand why they're removing their ATM, to be honest. and a beggar's belief that they're going to have these AIB outlets with no cash, but with staff, I don't know, giving business advice or something like that. I'm not sure. I know that there's a partnership there with the An Post, and there's a huge investment going into that. In terms of the Donegal towns, I would say that there's an An Post in all of those towns, so there is that accessibility. But yeah, I do think this is a sign of the times.
But coming from a business perspective, obviously, as you mentioned, businesses invariably, for at least the short to medium term, you'd imagine, will be using cash. Their insurance might limit how much cash they can have on site at any given night. Of course, then they don't want to be travelling great distances with cash. And I don't know if we know whether the likes of your bank, your post office or credit union will have cash drops. So, I think obviously I'm in the same boat as you. I don't really use cash, and I haven't been in a bank in a very, very long time. But for other people, and I think for businesses, for the reasons I outlined there, this is a huge blow, Lorraine.
Absolutely, yeah, and obviously that's one of the things that has been flagged by the government at this stage, that there is a concern. There's a concern that people are going to be travelling with cash in their cars, and obviously as business owners, they're well known, so people are going to know that they're going to be travelling to do that. I would imagine it's one of the services that An Post are going to have to provide as a cash drop, the very same as the banks do at the minute. I don't know how they get away with that.
Yeah, Grania, what's your view, Grania Hines?
Yeah, well, I agree with Lorraine, and I think for older people who really have supported the banks all their lives, this is a big blow, because they trust the banks. They go there to their ATMs, and we do business, older people, with the banks, because with a lot of things that come in, forms, etc. And I know majority of us probably are online, as I am myself. I really don't need a bank, but I really can't understand why they're moving the ATMs. And as far as I know, none of the post offices have ATMs, and are they going to have them? And also the size of the post offices in Ireland, they're quite small. I don't know how they could, they're going to be very busy. It's going to be queues. There's no way you can sit down. And I see all these as a problem, and I think the government should delay it at least, and look at it.
I mean, I kind of told a porcupine, because I have been in a bank twice, I think, in the last couple of years. But on both occasions, I was actually directed to ATMs inside the bank. One was to lodge a cheque, and I can't remember what the other reason was for, but I didn't engage with the teller. There was a member of staff standing directing me towards the ATM. So maybe this has been on the cards for some time.
Yeah, it may have been, but I think that the post offices aren't set up for it, neither are the credit unions. And until that was in place, they shouldn't have stopped the banks. So I don't agree with it. I think it's a big mistake. And if I was in any of these banks, AIB at the minute, I would move my account.
Yeah, but a lot of people have just moved their account from Ulster Bank because they thought, Ulster Bank's leaving the market. I'm going to switch over to AIB. And I know a few people personally that are going, well, I like access to cash and I like access to services. And they even wanted to go in branch to open the account, because they want that sort of personal feel. And maybe they're AIB mortgage customers.
And there's another little point, like when you're getting jobs done in the house, most of us pay cash. I know it's a bit of a black market thing, I presume, but I don't know how they're going to. That means that everything's going to be more expensive. If you want your garden cut or all these things, your windows washed, and it's only a small amount of cash you're giving people, but you do need it.
I'm sure they're all paying tax. They just like the feel of
I'm sure they are.
The paper in their hand. Do not attract attention to this economy, Grania. Stop it. Damien Dowd's editor of the Inishowen Independent newspaper. Obviously, you're right across the region, but you'll be getting a strong sense of what the reaction is to the news that Buncrana's AIB branch is to go cashless and the ATM removed.
Yeah, Buncrana and Cairn.
And Cairn done, of course, yeah.
Yeah, Cairn as well. So there's rage, actually, Greg, in Inishowen for that, because as usual, Inishowen is kind of treated, and it's just popped down to Letterkenny. Like, people that are in business in Buncrana or in Cairn or further north, it's not just a matter of popping down to Letterkenny. This is what we're told when it comes to health. This is what we're told when it comes to everything. So for AIB to withdraw cash services from an area as large as Inishowen, and we'll say it again, we'll remind people of it, it's got a population that's larger than County Leitrim, which is, of course, getting to keep a cash bank, and it's got a population about the size of County Longford. To deny cash services by AIB in an area as large as that is unconscionable. And there is absolute rage from people. I am with AIB and I am gone. I am leaving. I am to hell with that. And I like to use cash. From a privacy point of view, I like to have cash. I don't need this here tracking me every step of the way, and the banks and the financial institutions knowing what and where I'm spending my money. The better that they can tailor things to me, and the better that they can charge me for the use of my own money. So I prefer and I choose to use cash where possible. And that's being denied to us. And this idea that we're running towards a cashless society and that's progress, it is not. It's the opposite. It's to save money for the banks, and it's to allow them to sell and to send more to us and to charge us more for using our own money. And it is absolutely outrageous. From the business community here, there's outrage, and from people who like to use it. And we've spoken, we do have, obviously, there's credit union here, the Shown Credit Union, and you do have post office and those, but those aren't really geared up to handle the volume of business that the banks are set for.
And of course, businesses
they didn't consult. AIB didn't consult with any of them, obviously.
Yeah, and they didn't. And of course, businesses will already know the cost of dealing with cash, because they are charged €20 per €1,000 to lodge cash. I think it's 24, 25 to change coins into cash. So obviously the bank wasn't making enough about that. There's a consultation going on about the future of banking in this country, Damien. The timing of this is, I don't know if it's tactical or what have you. It's certainly a two-finger salute to the government, who they didn't, and they don't have to, but they could have consulted the Minister for Finance, as we are the principal stakeholder. So what do you think is going on here with the AIB? What are they doing?
AIB's this investigation into the retail banking sector is ready to report, so they're getting out ahead of that probably. But it looks like, or it's possible, and we'll see if their horns can be pulled in on this. I mean, the Taoiseach's out of the country at the moment in the Middle East or in the Far East, and I mean, he's saying that he's going to meet with AIB next week, and we'll see how that goes. I think there's been such a visceral reaction in the places that are affected by this, which are predominantly rural areas, that we'll see that it needs to be pulled back, it needs to be drawn back. And our central bank as well is kind of sitting asleep at the wheel as usual on this too. They slept through the 2006 Celtic Tiger period, allowed the banks to go to hell, and now they're sleeping again. You wonder times what that central bank's supposed to be the regulator for us. What is it that it's actually doing?
And the timing of it is shocking as well in terms of the Ulster Bank's exit.
Yeah.
So you say, Damien, there you're only one of many that's going to move again.
But the thing is, Lorraine, we have a duopoly here. It's not like, do you have a local Bank of Ireland? Because that's the only show in town, Damien, and if they go, everything's gone. So it's not like there's 5 different banks and you can go, hey, AIB, I'm out because I'm going to your competitor. There's only 2 of them.
And if they're doing
they'll all go that way eventually. AIB's probably testing the waters, and the other banks, predominantly Ulster Bank or Bank of Ireland, as we know, they're probably sitting watching and seeing the reaction to this and seeing if AIB can ride it out. And if AIB can ride it out, well, they certainly will too.
Grania, you're going to come in there, Grania?
Yeah, if they're doing it for economic reasons, why would the credit union or the post office take it up to do it? It doesn't make sense. And
I think it's generally accepted. If any bank was coming into Ireland now, we have a population what's similar to the likes of Manchester and a wee bit of the surroundings. You would not have as many banks in that area as we would have here. Any bank starting up here now would never have, branches all over the place. And also, obviously, the likes of particularly the post office, they're looking for anything to sustain their future going forward. So I suppose I didn't hear them complaining about it. It's an advantage to them, but I just don't think.
But they don't have the staff that are going to be able to handle the amount.
There's a €40 million investment going into Post on the back of this.
Which is not insignificant.
It should be already in and everything ready to go before the bank is allowed to.
Grania, I said yesterday in the programme, the banks just don't reverse their decisions on this. I kind of get a sense maybe the AIB might have to think twice on this one. Do you think they may reverse their decision on this particular one, or will they just ride it out?
No, I think they will reverse it.
Yeah. Lorraine, what do you think?
I'm not so sure. I think it could go ahead. I mean, they've put a lot into it. But I don't understand why they don't leave ATMs. If they're going to do that exit, it should be a phased exit, and I think their timing is shocking.
And you talked about your digital. Most of you don't do much cash transactions, Lorraine. Do you get Damien's point? Obviously, we respect and understand it, but do you get Damien's point about the importance of having cash? Because, and Damien can speak for himself, of course, his view is that the same view as many, many, many people listening to this programme.
I know, absolutely. And when I have to get cash for those transactions that Grania was talking about, it is a job of work to go and find an ATM, and to find an ATM that's working, to find an ATM that doesn't charge you, to go to an ATM that has cash. We do have local shops here, obviously, that have ATMs, but I mean, sometimes they're out of cash. So it is a job of work. I have moved into the Revolut space. Sometimes it's easy just to Revolut, sharing bills and stuff like that on meals and nights out. But by and large, yes, my card is on my phone. It's all there. Sorry, Damien, I just find it handy to tap. I've no idea. Keeping track of cash, I'm a disaster. I do. There's a different feel for tapping and actually handing over cold hard cash.
Yeah, see, Damien, I find it advantageous that these people know so much about me, because I find stuff is tailored towards me, and it kind of works for me, if you know what I mean. But that's while fully respecting, exactly everything you're saying.
Yeah, they're going to sell. They're going to, it'll be used to sell products and sell ideas to you. I suppose that, look, I do have, and somebody actually transferred cash to me. I got a Revolut just last week, and someone sent a payment to me over that. First time I'd ever done Revolut. I haven't sent one out, but I have received one. But I've got kids that are in primary school. You're trying, one of the tasks is to try to teach them the value of money, and that'll not be taught by ones and zeros on a screen. Like one of the young fellas there went to spend 120 quid on FIFA bucks there during the past couple of weeks or something, before I got a hold of him, before I managed to get him to stop. And I was trying to explain this, because they're just numbers on a screen.
Oh, I had one of my boys emptied the account out. The account out.
This is what they do.
In fairness, this was a long time ago, but mortgage bounced, everything bounced, everything bounced. And in fairness, it was Google. They gave me the money back in the end, but
I'm trying to use this as a kind of a teaching moment for him. But look, when I send those kids, when the kids are going into the shop or something, it's not a card I'm handing them a fiver and telling them to go in and buy the ice pop, and they're coming out with the change and they're looking and they're able to tell me, oh, that ice pop is dearer than the other, whatever it is. And those are things that they need to learn at that young age as well. And those are things that will not be done if they tap and go. Look, I understand. I do have direct debits and different things that get set up, and I do use cards from time to time. But the pleasure and the importance of using cash is something that I will be very, very, very slow to give up, because it suits me. And if it costs a business or it costs a bank to handle cash, guess what? I don't care. It doesn't cost me.
All right. Grania, you're not in agreement. The only thing is, I mean, obviously, you can also teach the value of money, because obviously, for chores, depending on their age or when they actually go out and work and what have you. I mean, you don't necessarily, need, a note and then some change. Lorraine, do you agree with that? I mean, you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all do it different ways. There's no right or wrong on this either. It's just what percentage of us are doing it, which way probably ends up deciding which way we go.
I do think in the teenage world, you'll find it, Damien, to give them their pocket money and stuff over Revolut, they manage it very well. They realise when their tap is empty, it is empty because they've overspent. And interestingly, if they're in places where there's no Wi-Fi, they can't get access to their cash, which is another issue. So sometimes then they're like, well, okay, if I have no Wi-Fi, I need hard cash. Stick a wee fiver into the back of the phone cover, as a wee emergency. So they learn very quickly, especially when it's their own. So it doesn't matter if it's hard cash or like a Revolut card. They know what's in it when they do their online shopping, going on to ASOS or, Shein or some of those. If the money's not there, they do figure it out very, very quickly.
Grania, do we over exaggerate the reliance on an older person, older generations banks? Because I think an awful lot of I know my dad, he liked to deal with cash, but he was, he didn't mind doing the digital side of things either. My mother was the same, and a lot of, I think, certain people might operate in the local post office and credit union. They might be happy with that. do you think that the big thing we need to protect here is services for older people, or is that being exaggerated in any way?
Well, I don't think it's completely exaggerated, but there is a bit of exaggeration because a lot of them will use tap. They like the tap option. But at the same time, there's a large cohort of them who do not use cards. And they get their pension and they portion it out and they pay their bills. And that's what they've been used to for 60, 70 years, right? So it is a big blow to them. And I don't think the facilities to help them will be in the post offices or in the credit unions.
It feels
they don't have the capacity to do it.
Yeah.
But if they had, perhaps, if there was help there and if they were, the premises were suitable, then perhaps, and it should have been gradual, as Lorraine said, a gradual change. Not sort of wake up in the morning and say, okay, this is it. And I do pity the small businesses because they obviously every night put their money in the bank, and I think that has been taken away as well. The night saves.
Yeah.
So they're going to be hanging around with cash. They're going to be travelling, as Darren said, from Inishowen to Letterkenny.
And a big thing here, Lorraine, too, though, is access to cash to spend. Because if someone is going into Buncrana or Carndonagh for a weekend or for a night or Donegal Town, and you can't get cash out of the bank, and maybe they're coming from Northern Ireland, and they haven't switched this, that, and the other, and then some people give a bad rate in sterling. I think as bad as removing cash services from the banks, removing ATMs, that's completely crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the bit I don't understand. I would have thought at the very least they should have had the ATM outside so people have access to cash and they can do their lodgements there as well. And a lot of people are used to moving into that space. So, and people want access to their own bank's ATM as opposed to just any random ATM. So I think that's really
because next thing ATMs start popping up and
it's
it's like it is out far and it's $2.50 to use it, €3.
Or Northern Ireland, there's a charge. Yeah.
Damien, though, I know you're a cash lover. Is the problem here though that maybe this is just a stopgap to the inevitable, us moving completely cashless?
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's it. I mean the what's it called, the journey seems to be on that way, although I mean I think that there might finally be there might be a bit of a kickback against that. It just won't be a linear thing and it won't go straight forward. Other countries have tried it and have kind of, like Sweden, and had to kind of pull back a wee bit from it. But it's more about kind of the fragmentation of society as well. Like, I mean, Mayville, this is what happened in Mayville. This is how the banks shut down Mayville. They started going 3 days a week and then they started closing down, and then eventually they took out the ATMs and they withdrew altogether. And Mayville is a far quieter town now for it, because people that were coming into the town previously to carry out their transactions, whether it's coming into lodge or whatever, all that's been done away with, and all that was transferred over to Cairn or to Buncrana or wherever. Now that's going to be transferred away, we're told, to Letterkenny. It is really detrimental to the health of the commercial health and the social health of towns. And I know the population comparison, Greg, with Manchester is right, or generally right, but the size of the country is completely different.
Yeah, but they don't look at it like that, you see, because they literally look about profits, and they're still making billions
600
of
million last year. Yeah,
exactly.
So they're not doing this because they're short of a few bob either. I mean, and this is how big business and how different ones, they scrape off these minor costs and scrape off so that they can have bigger and larger profits. So it's not, it will help their profit.
In terms of businesses, though, do businesses not want to go cashless? If you're talking about, at the moment, €20 for €1,000 to lodge, and that adds up very quickly with a high cash turnover business. It's not necessarily profit. €25, €24 for coins. Maybe it's just the way businesses want. I don't understand. I don't understand why businesses don't encourage more contactless pay. They still seem to. Many businesses prefer cash. Sorry.
I'd say they would prefer it, surely, because it will be cheaper for them. I mean, there is the occasional shop or the occasional cafe or outlet that attracts a bit of commentary and a bit of negative commentary very often when they simply don't accept cash. And, people take a very dim view of that as well. And I know, if you can't pay cash in turnstiles, this was the case for some matches and so on last year, there's a big kickback against the likes of that too.
But that also came and went.
It did.
You know, it came and went, and I think that's Grania. That's what they know, don't they?
Yeah,
we'll
they know
huff
that-
and puff,
yeah.
and then we'll move on to the next thing
And
because
we're stuck. What
our
can you
intention
do?
span for protest is minute now.
Yeah, right.
Isn't it?
So
There's a
much
lot, though. There's a lot in terms of the protest. But I do think COVID had a huge impact on cash as well. And, you know, the fact that, you know, it was kind of perceived to be dirty and you're, you know, passing on germs and stuff like that. And I did have a couple of instances when I tried to use cash and I was asked in the shop, have you no tap? Have you no card? So that was a kind of strange one. I do think that it's a huge relief to me when I go to even like a wee coffee horse box and they have tap, you know, because you're like, oh great, I don't have to go and find cash now. So yeah, for me,
and I suppose there are always going to be businesses too, and it's a reality whereby the turnover is such that maybe they don't have to declare everything, whereas they might with the digital payments, and maybe not so much with cards. I don't know. I'm not.
You know, that's an element,
I'm not criticizing that either. Everyone has their own wee struggles. Okay. That's the voices there of Damien Dowds, the editor of the Inishowen Independent newspaper, Lorraine Thompson, regional director of Donegal Youth Services, and we're also hearing from Grania Hines, member of Letterkenny Active Retirement. Back with more after the break.
At AIB, we know how difficult finding the right home can be. The searching, bidding, and time that lives behind every sale agreed sign. But when you finally do find the right home, AIB can make the mortgage part easier. With our online mortgage tool, you can manage your application online. Find out more at aib.ie. AIB, we back belief. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Allied Irish Banks plc is an authorised agent and servicer of AIB Mortgage Bank QC in relation to the origination and servicing of mortgage loans and mortgages. Allied Irish Banks plc and AIB Mortgage Bank QC are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Beat the cost of Brexit with no customs charges. Do you need a UK address for your limited company or personal use? Spiz Hub in Derry can provide you with your own mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Spiz Hub and collect at your convenience. There's brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock, ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook at spizhubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for more details.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
If you have a job to do this weekend, did you know that Watson Hire still have their brilliant weekend hire deal available? You can hire any item on Friday, keep it until Monday, and only pay for 1 day. That's 3 days hire on any equipment or machinery for the price of one. So there's no excuses to get that job done this weekend. Book early to avoid disappointment by calling Watson Hire in Letterkenny on 9167777.
Don't miss the 53rd Clonmany Festival open-air concerts, including Mike Denver on Tuesday the 2nd of August, and on Wednesday the 3rd, it's Derek Ryan. Don't miss these and many more open-air concerts at this year's Clonmany Festival from Sunday the 31st of July to Sunday the 7th of August. For a full programme, log on to clonmanyfestival.com. This ad is sponsored by Joyce's Centre Clonmany.
Okay, of course, says Greg, don't forget we pay for using the banking facilities. I just got my quarterly fees yesterday. I go to AIB Buncrana cash machines to get my cash out. I don't like using the card for my shopping, etc. I like cash, so know what I'm spending, what I have left. I'm 65-year-old, 65, but not that old at all. The Cashless Act seems to be going global. Act seems to be all the country's enemies. But every conversation we're having here is happening everywhere, even the next one we're going to have. The digitalisation of these services is killing jobs. There's no benefit to going to a self-service till. It's the same with Revolut. It's killing the Irish economy. Going cashless, this is not fair to the public for a number of reasons. Firstly, it makes it harder for people to keep track on what they spend. Although, I think if you're already in the digital era, if you're using it digitally, I'm not quite sure, because you get daily or weekly updates on your spend and where it's going and how you're spending it. But I take your point. Also for children going to school who may need cash for lunch, and also for older people whose only outing in the week may be to go to the bank or the post office. Everyone will get old eventually and will not be catered for. The thing is I think they're waiting for those who rely on cash to sort of maybe get old. Because anyone in my house going to school They go to anyone in my house going to school. They're going to school with their Revolut card, and that's what the school prefers, and so on and so forth. And then I get a notification to tell them exactly how much they've spent. So
I do think the tracking issue is fantastic. We
want to track the children, but we don't want them to track us. Isn't that right, Damien?
Yes. I don't know about that either.
All right,
really fair in the wings, is it?
Well, they don't call me a helicopter dad for nothing. Right. Teenagers will be taught about pornography as part of the new junior cert syllabus. Education Minister Norma Foley has announced a major revamp of the way sex is set to be taught to children in secondary schools. The courses have been modernised with the dangers of pornography, the importance of consent, and the harm that sharing images online can cause, now featuring strongly on the proposed relationship and sexuality education curriculum. The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment has completed a review of the way sex is taught in our schools and have come up with a major overhaul, as I say, of the RSE. The suggestions will now go out for public consultation, where parents, teachers, students and other interested parties can have their say. It's hoped that the new courses could start to be taught from September of next year. The leader of Aintu is amongst those, Paddy Tobin is amongst those that's come out against the changes, saying that the government should instead concentrate on stopping porn instead of teaching about it. Now, how that could be done is another topic. He said instead of tackling the consumption by children of hardcore pornography at source, the government are going to allow it to continue and to try to teach young children to navigate their way through it. Well, it's impossible to block pornography, unfortunately, if that's what you want. Right, Grania, I'll start with you. Grania Hines, do you think it's important that we are talking about pornography to our younger people? And do you think the consultation with parents and teachers will actually help to form this? Will they have any real say, I wonder?
Yeah, well, I think it's very important that we tackle it because it is a problem in the modern world. We can't get away from it. And we can't sweep it under the carpet like we did with other sexual problems in the past. So I think it's very, very important that it is included in the curriculum. But it is a very sensitive subject and little minds can absorb things different ways. So you have to be very careful about it. I think the parents, I haven't read myself what actually the curriculum is going to be, and I would like to see that before, you would pass judgment on it. But I think the parents have a right also to see what is going to be taught so that they can cooperate at home and, say the same thing as the teachers and guide the children. Very, very important that all parents are brought in as a community to the school to discuss it and to say how they can handle the curriculum which the teachers are applying. I think it's very important because there's a lot of evidence to show that pornography induces sexual violence, and it's coercive behaviour. It's it's not a nice thing to talk about to your children. It's very difficult because you try and give them the impression that sex is very important in a relationship, but that the tenderness and love are not portrayed by pornography.
Or Love Island, for that matter. You see,
Or Love Island.
Island. Like I don't watch it. No, Granny, I'm not sure if you're a fan.
No, I
but
hate
that last bit of your comment that you talk about, really, the likes of it's one of the most popular programs amongst young people. They're not watching anything else, really, if the truth be told. It doesn't really push those values that you talk of either. Everything is transactional. It doesn't matter. And
it's also to do with body image a lot in Love Island, which I think I object big time to because it gives the impression, what you have to look like. And I think it's particularly, and we've had our own case of sexual pornography causing sexual violence in that recent case in Dublin, the Kriegel little girl who was murdered. So, I mean, it is a very important thing and it has to be brought out into the open. It has to be discussed. I'm sure Lorraine would
But Grania, the facts are, and this is in dispute. We can't ban pornography. A lot of young men and young girls, right? And maybe their ages would shock us all. The statistics out that would show how young they are if they're not being taught at school, if they're not being taught at home, they could very easily believe a girl, what a female does in these films could be an expectation of them in reality.
Yes.
And the guys, how they might treat women in these films, if they have no other influence, they might believe that is what you do, that is how you do it. So we have to, whether it's in schools or where it is, we have to talk to them about it, don't we?
We have to, we have to discuss it. And we have to say to them, that isn't the behaviour that gives them satisfaction or gives them love.
Before bring out our other guests on this, Grania, I was speaking to a guest early in the week, and they are of their view that there's something else going on here, or at least we need to explore it. The fact that this is about, sexualizing our young people for, for whatever reason it might be, that it's sexualizing them, and then maybe there are adults that could exploit that. I don't want to over paraphrase in case I get it wrong. Are you confident that that's not about this, or this is not about that?
No, I don't think it's about that, because I think it's about protecting them from that and giving them what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. I mean, people don't like the word now bad. Nothing is bad. You know what I mean? There's a reason for everything. And of course, we know that adults watch pornography, and I think adults should also be brought into some kind of a forum where they could look at what they're doing and how it's affecting them. There's a lot of children who are being abused in the home, and they are being exposed to pornography actually in the home.
Yeah, I think 40 to 50% of 16-year-old boys are watching pornography on their mobile phones, and how often they're doing it.
And you can't stop it. You cannot stop it, because they can go to a Wi-Fi cafe if you take the Wi-Fi off them. There's nothing, the platforms that are showing these pornography could perhaps be a little more careful, and that maybe something could be done.
But listen, they're not watching it on, they're watching it everywhere. It's all over Twitter. It's all over Reddit. It's, you could get Pornhub and whatever other porn sites there are to have age verification. It doesn't matter. That's, they're sending it to each other on Snapchat. It's, that's I think that's a smoke screen, really, because we'd feel like we're doing something, but it would stop nothing.
Damien, parents should be educated. Parents also need to be educated. It has to be a dual program.
Don't want to talk about it.
They don't know. But they have.
Damien, what do you think for bring Lorraine in?
Look, I mean, obviously, when this came out this week, obviously the pornography is the one that gets the headlines, and that's kind of, that's the kind of the salacious aspect of it. And people say, oh, they're going to talk about porn in schools, but I think it's a much wider thing than that. And what they're saying is they haven't really settled on the curriculum, as I understand it, but what they're doing is they're opening the consultation on it so people can chat about it. And there's a lot of issues, and obviously pornography is the one that's getting all the headlines, and that's been the way it's going to be framed this week. But you see this business of sharing, seeking and then sharing intimate images, shall we say? Like, these kids, my goodness, they have no notion what they're at, and that's going to be part of it as well. But it's trying to explain to them about the digital world and how a picture taken now and shared in good faith, whatever, that comes with certain risks, and the sharing of it now is a criminal, is a criminal offence as well. So they need to. There's an awful lot of education needed in that whole relationship.
Should that be in school, though, Damien? Should not be down to parents who decide what chats they have with their children? Because I don't know, I think it was Grania that said, you could have a very innocent 15, 16-year-old who's taught all of this stuff at home and is taught a very different way, and they're being exposed to this conversation. In other words, they're getting their education on all this stuff at school because they're not accessing it.
I'd say no. I'd say school is the place to do it. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But teachers as well. I mean, this is a difficulty for teachers. And I think when they've looked at this in the past, some teachers are wondering if they're given and what the curriculum that they're teaching or the way they're trying to express a topic, whether that's appropriate to the age and so on. So teachers need to be kind of trained up and empowered to do this as well. It's already on the curriculum anyway. This is just a renewing or a revising or a bringing it up to the 2020s standard. So look, there's 3 months of consultations on this. People will have plenty of chance to talk about it, but it is obviously, we've all, everything has kind of zeroed in on the bottom line of pornography, but it's going to be a lot wider than that. There's ads on the radio at the moment, Greg, about this control and abusive relationship. I've heard it there, a very powerful radio ad, and topics like that are going to be covered in it as well, so that people involved in those types of relationships can recognize it for what it is. And while there is, of course, an onus on parents and within family to do that, we also know that unfortunately quite a lot of abuse happens within families as well. And that's it's generally by someone that's known to them or related to them that can perpetrate this. So
it's a really strong point that too, that we it might not change people's points of view, but if it could stop that, if people go, hold on, what's happening here is not what's I'm being told is happening.
Exactly. So look, obviously, the porn is the big thing, and that's been the big headline all week, and that's the way it is. That gets people talking about it, sells papers.
Well, I think that's what's angered people who are opposed to this most. I don't think this is a media-generated one necessarily, Damien. I think the likes of Ain2 have come out and they've focused on the pornography element of it.
I saw it on. I think it was the Irish Independent that kind of broke it one day during the week, and they led with porn to be taught in schools, and it kind of has.
I get you.
Snowballed from that, and of course Ain2 would, that's exactly what we'd expect, and they're absolutely perfectly tight. But I don't think this is kind of like some of the other parts of the curriculum, there's film review and film appreciation. When they do it in the English language through the literature side of things, I don't think that's what's envisaged in this. This is tried to explain to them that pornography is, it's a representation and not an accurate or a real life representation, really.
All right, this text, Lorraine, is along the lines of the conversation we were having earlier in the programme. Good morning, Greg. My children will not be taught this filth. They believe that this is about grooming children.
Greg, I have been on this show many times talking about this very topic. I think, as Damien says, it's regrettable that the media have taken the headline that they have, but I'm going to guess it's about selling newspapers. This is a revamp of the junior cycle RSE program, which is 20 years old. Young people have told us time and time again, it's too little, it's too late, it's too biological, it's not fit for purpose. There's been reviews after reviews. I think I've been on your show talking about this probably about 3 years ago, Greg, at this stage.
Yeah.
At that stage, there was a mobilisation of parents groups, I know certainly nationally and locally, around this. I have been campaigning for us to talk about sex more for years with young people, that it should be a drip conversation and not a one-off talk, that parents need to be supported in this process, that it should be a partnership between the schools and the parents, that we can't leave it on one side or the other. The reality is, for a lot of young people, they don't really get it in either space. The parents are not equipped, or they're not comfortable, or they didn't get the information themselves. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing. Equally in schools, we have known for years that teachers feel awkward. They feel they can't move from teaching math 1 minute to teaching sex ed the next, even though we know that there are training programs in place for teachers. Schools have tried to skip out, maybe offering like study periods and stuff whenever they should be talking about sex ed and RSE. So we know that's the whole gambit that's there. So I think it's very timely that this is coming to the fore. The reviews have all been done. I'm not sure what this next 12-week period is going to bring to the fore any different than what they already know.
But I think it would be very useful if, say, for instance, a typical class like this was streamed online or posted on YouTube, so that concerned parents could have a look at it, to look at how the conversation is happening, how it's framed, and then have an input. So we're not looking down at black and white. Do you know what I mean? So they can say, well, what is being articulated and how is it being articulated? How much focus is on not sending nude images of yourself versus, what is displayed?
But there will be lesson plans, I would imagine. This is coming from the WHO as well.
Yeah, but if and that's some people's concerns. If parents could see a physical class as it's being taught or how it's taught, I think there might be more of a buy-in.
I think you should put that into the review as well. Greg, that's a very good point.
Just an
as
understanding.
A parent, you should put that
in. Because we're reading this and it says, and then he says he does this to this and that happens. Let us see visually how you speak the words and where the focus and emphasis is on. And then we can have a proper conversation, because the whole conversation we had earlier in the week, to be honest with you, I don't really know what's being said or how it's being said. The guest doesn't know, but he wanted to make sure it wasn't all that. Let's just see what it is and how it's done, and then let's have a conversation.
And we need to trust our teachers on this. We need to trust our teachers and trust our schools that they are there in the best interests of the children and the young people. They are there to educate. They are there to help empower them to navigate their way. We know that kids are being handed smartphones, my goodness, from the age of 5 up. They're like maybe 3 or 4 clicks away from pornography. I think parents need to be acutely aware of this whenever they're putting their head into this space.
Grania, last word. Sorry, go ahead. Finish your point.
Once they hand them the phone, they need to be prepared to start having those conversations.
All right, Grania, last word to you on
this. I think it's very important that the parents know what is going to be taught and how it's going to be taught and if it's age appropriate. But at the same time, this has to be done. We cannot, parents cannot say, look, this is sexualizing children. It is not. It is showing them what is good in relationships, not what is bad in relationships. They are going to talk about sexting, which is a big problem among teenagers. They form an attachment with somebody. They try and, they're asked to send a picture. They send it because they think that's going to give them attention and love. And that is not what is happening.
And I defy even the most protected children being brought up at some stage very early on to stand in front of a mirror coming out of the bath or shower and go, what's that for? Where does that go? Why is that there? What do I do with that? And however, we have to make sure they know correctly what to do. At some point, it has to be done.
And we normalize these conversations.
That we don't shame them with body image. The body is a beautiful organ. And we also have to, as they say, the body is a temple. All of that has to be given to the children, as well as the negative sides. The positive sides of sex have to be emphasized, as well as the negative sides. And it is very scary for a lot of children. And of course, being an ex-teacher, I know if you mention anything like that, we would run to the dictionary. They will go to the Wi-Fi, and they'll want to know what's this all about. You know what I mean? So you have to be very careful, and you have to be there to talk to them. It's very important that they can ask questions, they feel comfortable about it, and that they can ask questions and the teachers, we have to trust the teachers.
Any last comments, Damien, on this?
No, I mean, I think, the public are going to have their opportunity to have an input into this, or to have a say on it, and people should take that chance, But
what'll happen? It'll be across all the newspapers on programs like this here, and about 12 people from one organisation will make submissions.
I mean, that tends to be how it goes, but people can make their views on. And look, there's often a silent majority that are going, this is grand, and they don't get too exercised by it, and then people on either extreme, then they do get very exercised by it. I think it's right that this is done within the schools. It's right, it has been done anyway, and it's right that it's brought up to date, and it's right that it deals with the issues that these teens are facing, because my goodness, they have a lot on their plates. They are facing them.
All right, good stuff. Listen, thanks very much for that. Back with more from our guests after these.
Did you know that last year Pieta supported more than 600 families who had lost a loved one to suicide?
Or that we have Pieta centres across Ireland providing almost 1,000 hours of counselling every week?
Or that we are now hiring additional therapists to meet the growing demand for help?
Pieta services are completely free of charge. If you would like to know more about our life-saving work or how you can join the Pieta team, go to pieta.ie.
Pieta.
Ending suicide.
Beginning hope.
New summer footwear at Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure. New Balance, Asics, Brooks and Hoka. Brooks Adrenaline 22 in new colours just arrived. Hoka Clifton 8, new summer colours. Or try Bondi 7 for some extra cushioning. Bounce your way through the summer with the best brands and best fit for your feet. Look the part, play the part. In store or online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
July 25th is World Drowning Prevention Day. Mark it by doing one thing. Learn one water safety skill. Share one piece of water safety advice. Change one mind about safety around water. Be the one who takes responsibility. Because for someone at risk of drowning, your one thing could mean the world. For advice, visit watersafety.ie.
This is Water Safety Ireland. Better safe than sorry. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
For great food in the heart of Letterkenny's Cathedral Quarter, step into Dillon's Hotel. Using only the best local produce, Dillon's serve an extensive menu every day from 12. Perfect for a quick bite, a relaxed lunch, or a leisurely dinner. Try the renowned 4-course Sunday lunch with full table service. Or if you work in town, why not pre-order and have your lunch waiting? Great food and service, 7 days a week at Dillon's Hotel Letterkenny, with live music every Friday and Saturday night. Visit Visit dillons-hotel.ie.
Are you looking to make a bigger impact at work? Join the team at Optum in Letterkenny, where we're collecting the brightest people, places and ideas to create better healthcare. As one of our claims or appeals representatives, you'll make a meaningful difference, providing first-class customer service and support. Come to our virtual hiring event on August the 3rd to take the next steps in a career with Optum. Register today at uhg.hr/event. That's uhg.hr/event.
All right, you're welcome back to the programme. Damien, I was just thinking there during the ad break, whilst also listening to the ads and deciding what to buy. Fear is just such a powerful tool at the moment, isn't it? You know, the government use fear to try and make us do things, whether they do it intentionally or accidentally. And those who oppose government use fear. So in other words, even talking about what we were talking about just a moment ago and other topics as well, if people try and make their point, they go to the absolute extremes to try and drive people to their way of thinking. Have we lost the ability for a moderate conversation on anything?
I think we have, Greg. Actually, and the topic we're going to come on to now shortly is social media and how that's used, and I think that's been part of it. Yeah, I mean what gets clicks and likes, and the newspapers and the British tabloids for a long time have understood this, and how they produce those very provocative front pages that they did for so long, and that has moved on to online where everyone has a cut at it now as well. But yeah, the kind of the not the sensible middle ground, but civil conversation. You don't have to be, just because you disagree with me doesn't mean that you're against me. It's not about teams, and then you don't pack a team and back it forever because you're like some infantile that's always followed Aston Villa in the Premier League and you must follow them forevermore. Man, when facts change, when situations change, you're allowed to change your mind as well.
Yes, but if you see, this is the point. If you're corralled into your point of view by fear with a backup story, and if you want to Google it, you can. That limits your moving of position. That's what I think. That's just the way it is now. Because if you buy into the fact that this is about sexualizing and grooming children so they can be abused by adults eventually, because that's effectively what some people are suggesting, right? If you go against that or have a different view to that, well, then you're for it. Because someone's told you it's an absolute fact. If you dispute that fact, well, maybe you're one of them.
I suppose this is it. A lot of people, and I suppose the online world has really done this. It has become very black and white when most people that live in the real world know it's different shades of grey. There's a bit from column A and a bit from column B, and that is being lost. That civility, that ability to have a discussion, hear the other point of view, take on what good points they raise about it, and being able to move on and help that inform your own view. Your own view doesn't have to stay fixed forever. You are able to change. And people who've gone and have built profiles for themselves, or that they've said, and I think once you write something down, and whether you do it in social media, whether you do it in the paper, whether you do it wherever, once you write something down, people find it very hard to walk themselves back from that times, and it shouldn't be. It's all right.
Because you can't have a conversation on social media. Because if you put a point of view across, people believe that is the point of view that you would die for. And the amount of times I'd say, no, I'm having this is a conversation. That's just one view. Now you come back and to the point where I do not engage anymore because, well, I do more on Facebook, but certainly on Twitter, because you get a pile on by simply asking a question. People presume that you're taking some hardline view on something.
You get attacked very quickly. Yeah, I've seen that in a lot of commentary.
It's astonishing. And it's just like, well, no, I was just trying to have a conversation. I haven't formed my view fully, but I want you to sort of come back to me. It's like, all right, blocked. You're blocked.
But
not me now.
I think that it all comes down to learning to listen. I think one of the skills I always
we had that skill, Grania. We've lost it. We've lost it.
You've lost it online.
As I speak over you. But you know what I mean, though, Grania.
Yeah, I do. And listening, and then that leads to critical thinking. And it allows people to become thinkers, to decide. This is why philosophy should be taught in schools, I think. A lot more philosophy. We should go back to that. Because there are people who cannot listen. I mean, I agree with Darren. If I argue with somebody, they're not my enemy then. I expect them. But there are some people, if you disagree with their view, then they put you in a box, exactly like you're saying. So I'm saying listening and critical thinking should be one of the skills too that are taught to young people. And I think they are not being taught. They do not listen. They look at social media, they form opinions. They don't look at all the opinions, put them in a box and say, okay, which one should I agree with, or could I agree with, or do I not agree with? And I think that's a skill that should be taught in the schools as well as
And I think, as Damien said, there's a lot of very opinionated people out there online, and they love to put their opinions forward. So, I mean, that's what you're getting. So, I mean, the people maybe in the middle that maybe have better things to be doing with their lives, get on with it.
And that middle's getting squeezed now.
Yes.
You know, before, I think it used to be maybe, 5% on either end. Now it's almost like there's 30% on either end, and what's 60 from 100? 40 left in the middle.
Yes,
I do think, though, you have to take your time. If you're trying to form an opinion on something, as Courtney said, you have to educate yourself. You have to have conversations about it. And it's not easy to do that online, so you have to take that time and not just grab the headlines and run with them. As we've already said, headlines are always controversial, and that's what they're designed to be.
But Damien, there's money in how people think, though, you see. So
that's it, yeah. And I mean, like, I actually, I came off Twitter. I was on Twitter for a very long time. I'm off it almost 2 years now. And
how do you feel?
Far better for it. And I never thought I'd be able to do it, to be truthful about it, like, because, and like, I wasn't subject to any bullying or harassment on it, like, but, I could feel my buttons being pressed daily by just reading whatever it was. And it wasn't targeted at me, but I was in this constant heightened state of wanting to be saying something harsh or whatever it was, like, and over things that were
everyone's
irrelevant.
doxing each other as well. If you disagree, right, you get everyone to pile on them and have a go at them, and it's everywhere. It's not, and to be honest with you, I was listening to a national radio program yesterday, and it's happening to a bus company. I might disagree with maybe their policy, but it's a pile on mainstream media. And it's the exact same thing that's happening on social media. So it's right across society.
It is a change in society. Yeah, it is a change in society brought about. Actually, I watched, and if anyone's listening that cares to do so, that there's a documentary. It's on Netflix, as it happens, called The Social Network. And when I watched it, I deleted Twitter as the credits rolled, as they encouraged me to do, because they do say, like, the algorithm is set up in such a way, it is designed to get the reaction. It's designed to put you in a heightened state. It's designed to get you to react, because that's what they want. And if you're posting something that's racist or homophobic or whatever else, that feeds the algorithm, and that's really all it cares. Because what are those entities about? What are Facebook? What is Twitter? What are the rest about? Well, they're major money-making operations, and they're doing it from your attention and from your outrage, and they have monetized outrage, and they have fomented outrage.
Yeah, exactly.
And to be honest, I came off it, and I didn't think I would last, and I feel far better for it.
Well, let's not be dramatic either, Damien. You did last. Damien Dowds, editor of the Inishowen Independent newspaper. Thank you so very much.
Thanks.
Take care of yourself. I wish we had more time, but time has caught up on us. Grania Hines, as always, lovely to have you on the programme.
Thank you very much.
Have a lovely weekend. And last but certainly not least, Lorraine Thompson, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Greg. Have a good weekend.
You too. Take care of yourself. Back with more after the news.
In 2018, Toyota cut through the confusion, completely ceasing production of diesel passenger cars, lowering harmful emissions and providing certainty for Irish drivers everywhere. And Kelly's Toyota are proud to be part of that hybrid electric journey. Visit Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles today to see what makes Toyota Ireland's best-selling car brand in 2021 and 2022. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world. Best-selling claim based on most recent monthly figures.
Years ago, I used to dread my motor insurance renewal. Then a friend told me about O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybofey and Dunlow. They do all the hard work. They contact all the major insurance underwriters and they get the very best possible quote for me. They have saved me a small fortune over the years and they could do the same for you.
When your insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon Insurance at their Ballybofey office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon is regulated by the Central Bank.
If you're thinking of changing some furniture, a huge sale is now on at McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. It's a chance to save hundreds of euros on floor model suites, beds and mattresses, dining and occasional furniture, with reductions in all departments. It's a great opportunity to grab a real bargain in the big sale now on at McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Link Road, Letterkenny. See mcginleysfurniture.com.
Calling Bus Air and Expressway passengers. If you're travelling between Donegal and Dublin on Expressway's Route 30x30, we recommend booking your seat online at expressway.ie for the best travel experience. Most people are booking ahead to guarantee a seat, and you get an advance email in the event of any service disruption. All passengers can track where their coach is using Expressway's real-time passenger information. And our customer care agents are available by phone 7 days a week. Have a great trip with Expressway.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
It's 10 o'clock. This is Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. The Agriculture Minister says AIB needs to reconsider and reverse their decision to convert 70 of its branches to cashless locations. Cash and cheque services are to be removed from 6 branches in Donegal. The Taoiseach is due to meet with executives next week after appealing to the bank to reconsider. Minister Charlie McConalogue says AIB needs to look at its own history.
Really what we need to do as AIB to reflect on the support that's been shown to them by the public over many years, and indeed to pay more attention to their memory of the support they received a number of years ago at a challenging time for the banking sector too. There hasn't been any consultation here with the public. This is a really important service, and I hope that AIB fully reconsider the approach they're taking here and put their customers front and centre.
Grania Hines, a member of Active Retirement Letterkenny, told today's 9 till noon show that plans to remove cash and cheque services from the AIB branches is a huge blow for the older generation. She doesn't believe that post offices have adequate resources to act as substitutes.
I really can't understand why they're moving the ATMs. And as far as I know, none of the post offices have ATMs. And are they going to have them? And also the size of the post offices in Ireland, they're quite small. I don't know how they could, they're going to be very busy. It's going to be queues. There's no way you can sit down. And I see all these as a problem. And I think the government should delay it at least, and look at it.
Further concerns are being raised over the lack of student accommodation. Councillor Michael McClafferty says the housing crisis is severely impacting third-level students who are unable to secure accommodation in many towns and cities across the country. In one case, a second-year student from Donegal who stayed in hotels last year may be forced to drop out of their course as they're unable to find somewhere to live. Councillor McClafferty says this is a reality for many and the government must act.
This should not be happening. The government needs to step in here. The government needs to make allowances. They should have kept places open for our students, and now just a mess going forward. And it's very sad to see, to be honest with you, that a sampling case of now, there is no room at the end, and I don't see it getting any better. Only worse, to be fair, once we head on into the months ahead.
Meanwhile, almost 1 in 10 hotel rooms in the country is being leased to the government at present. It comes as the states put out a request to hotels for more rooms to cope with a recent influx of refugees. The Department of Children, Equality and Integration says there is an immediate need to source more accommodation for daily arrivals. Tim Finn is CEO of the Irish Hotels Federation.
Some indications are that 15% of the room stock in Dublin is contracted to the government for various activities, and around the country it may be about 8%.
Today sees the opening of the shorefront amenity on Arranmore Island. The development of the recreation, outdoor amenity and amphitheatre is part of the €4.1 million Burton Port and Arranmore Harbour to Ireland regeneration project. Minister Heather Humphreys is officiating at the opening this morning. Councillor Micheál Cullum says it's a monumental day for West Donegal.
It's amazing. We have a fantastic state-of-the-art play area. We have an open-air venue, which I would imagine there's not one like it. What spectacular view right on the coast. It's just amazing. We can hold up to anything up to about 300 people here. It's just such a fantastic project that's been on the go for a very, very long time. And here we are at the very day that we're cutting ribbon and opening it officially.
Almost 1 in 3 frontline workers have yet to receive the €1,000 pandemic bonus by July 8th. Figures from the Irish Sun today show 68,000 had received the payment. And a new project is intended to improve long-term care services for older people. The initiative by Sage Advocacy aims to give people who experience long-term care and support services, along with their families, an opportunity to have their voices heard. The executive director is Sarah Lennon.
Government has committed to a commission on care in the programme for government, and it's absolutely vital that the work of that commission is not about looking at what policies need to be put in place, but exactly what the plan is for long-term care. We know the Irish population is living longer, and more of us are going to need some form of long-term care into the future. So all aspects of long-term care, including how it will be financed, need to be an important part of that Commission on Care once it's rolled out.
Well, the forecast largely dry with sunny spells, just a few showers, top temperatures 18 to 20 degrees Celsius in light southwest or variable breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notice is for this Friday morning, July the 22nd. The death has taken place of Margaret Kelly, Leanan Uris. Her remains will repose at her late residence this evening. Funeral leaving from there on Sunday morning at 9:30, going to St Michael's Church, Uris, for Requiem Mass at 10 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private place from 10 p.m. until 11 a.m. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Eddie O'Kane, Kavanagh House, Ballindrate, Lifford, and formerly of Falls Road, Belfast, reposing at his home tomorrow from 12 noon. House private place on Sunday. Funeral leaving his home on Monday morning at 10:25 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Murlock at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Susie Kearney, Churchtown, Carndonagh. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral leaving there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Father Hugh Behan, Ashling, Butcher Street, Lifford. His remains are reposing at St Patrick's Church, Murlock, Lifford. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in St Mary's Cemetery, Melmount. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live at clonleaparish.com. The death has taken place of Albert Lynch, 93, Blease Lane, Derry. Funeral from his home tomorrow morning at 11:25 for 12 o'clock Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Calais. Interment afterwards in All Saints Cemetery, Newton Cunningham. The Mass can be viewed live via the church webcam. Family flowers only, please. Donations only of flowers if wished to Alzheimer's Society, Seven Oaks, Derry. And the death has occurred of Geraldine McLaughlin, née Sweeney, Clybourne Road, Knock, Nacara, Galway, and formerly of Ballyliffin, County Donegal. Her remains will repose at her home in Galway on Sunday evening from 5 until 8 o'clock. Removal from there on Monday morning, going to St John the Apostle Church, Knocknacarra, to arrive for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by private cremation. Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchtv.ie. Family flowers only, please. Donations if desired to Galway Hospice. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. Let's get through some of your comments here before we head towards the bingo numbers. Greg, I feel there's no harm in being passionate about our views. Sometimes it's important to stand up for what we believe. I'll always challenge others who I feel they're pushing something that's not morally right. Of course, 100%, and keep going at it. That's not what we're talking about. A caller says there was a pile-on against docs who questioned the way COVID was being dealt with, yet they were correct. Now, are you talking about... I don't know which side you're talking about, because there's pile-ons against the likes of the Neffet, and then there's pile-ons against those who would oppose their views. So, which are you on about? I presume it might be the latter. Start a revolution and don't give a child what they want all the time. It'll make them better people, and God help us, we need that. Hi, Greg. Just want to bring to your attention the number of beggars around Letterkenny. As we know, they are organised gangs who send out old women, etc. to beg. It saddens me to see good people giving them money when they're probably genuine homeless people who really need their kindness instead. It also makes Ireland look uncaring of refugees to tourists when we know nothing could be further from the truth. Yep, and there are cases and documented cases of people out begging, and then they're rounded up and put into nice cars, and I presume that money's given to or shared with whomever's driving the cars. I think it's very important that the powers that be determine what's happening and get that sorted, because we can't. But you can buy someone a coffee or a sandwich and see what the reaction might be. Parents are too much of a pushover when it comes to their offspring, more about their own image as a parent than the child's. well-being. They should not have phones until the age of 16, and phones in this day and age need to come with a parental guidance. Snowflakism is alive and kicking, Greg. Is it snowflakey, though, to not give a child a phone till they're 16? You're afraid that, what, are they going to have their mind influenced? Are they going to do this, that and the other? Some would say maybe that's being a bit snowflakey. What do you think? Is it really possible now to raise a child who's going to mainstream school around their peers and looking after their emotional and mental well-being? Is it possible to sort of withhold a mobile phone and other privileges until they're 16? Is that realistic in this day and age? Text 086 60 25,000 and let me know if that's possible. Greg, you are saying it just right. You're assuming that because you agree with this being taught in schools, that anyone who disagrees with it is put in a box. That's not my intention. I just think people need to get all the information, know exactly what we're talking about. There are people with moderate views on it that don't want it. There are people with extreme views that don't want it. And we need to all people's views with the facts to be considered. Damien should stand for the county council elections. No, we don't want to lose a good man. A point I haven't heard yet in relation to pop-up ads. Even your more innocent children is going to be exposed to porn. We need to give them the tools to understand what they're seeing. Kids are curious, and some of those ads could put them in a vulnerable position. The one thing I will say is those ads are tailored. If you are spotting ads popping up with a pornographic element or gambling element on your phone, the likelihood is they've searched that, because the ads are driven by cookies. So if those types of ads are popping up on a phone, it's very, very likely that kind of material has been accessed on that device. That's just how that stuff works. Who's going to teach the teachers about sex education? I'd say so many of them wouldn't want to give those lessons. As well, any child that grew up in a farm won't need any kind of class like that. They would have learned to circle the circle of life already. Now, by the way, with this age court, they're already being talked about sex in schools. I was at this age group, so this is nothing new. It's the birds and the bees chat. I remember sitting in school and the teacher was talking about a box and a gift and all this type of stuff. It's just being modernised, and it is to brief them on the challenges that are around now that weren't around when they were having that conversation with me. So this is junior cycle level school children who were already being taught stuff, right? So this is a review of that. I think we're all clear on that, but just in case people aren't. Once porn, info and abuse campaigns are based on feminist principles, they'll fail as they are based on men blaming, when we all know all abuse, even rape, can and is committed by both genders. Okay. Any human behaviour must involve moral values and factual information. Without values, respect and genuine love will not add up to well-balanced individuals. The emotional development and maturity of young people differs, so parents need to be involved. Another, I think the revamp of how sex education is taught is great. It's just 2 centuries too late. Also, the teenagers are wiser than we think. It's actually night classes for the parents that we need. And I do wonder sometimes if parents are really fully aware of, and I don't think any of us are, of what they're talking about, what's going on, what happens at teenage discos, what happens, all over the place. I think maybe we do need to make sure we're fully educated as well. I'm sure schools are going to be teaching sex education taught in England. When my children were there, very normal, media blowing out of proportion. Great talk by guests. And by the way, our panels are scheduled. We try and get as much of a mix as possible. Our panels are scheduled well in advance, 3-4 weeks in advance. So you don't know what's going to be coming up for discussion in any particular week. And it just falls that sometimes they might be like-minded. Sometimes they could go at each other. The panels are assembled well in advance. So there's no controlling of that, by the way, and you have my word on that. It's literally as you hear it. The panel set up weeks ago, and then the topics come up during the week, and we try and pick the ones that are people are talking about most. As a child of the unsupervised internet era, I wish an adult put themselves through the awkward conversation for my sake. It would have protected me and helped me avoid scenarios that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But I do understand where you're coming from. But it's hard to have that conversation with the young ones too. But we have to find a way. But teachers don't all think the same. They think porn is okay, and some can see the damage it's done. That's why you have a curriculum, you see, and they have to teach along the lines of that curriculum. And that's the whole idea of it. It's not at their whim or what they decide. It is laid bare. Sorry, not laid bare, but it's laid out for them in black and white for them to follow. And that's why you have that. That's why the curriculum is being put in place. All right, good luck if you're playing bingo today.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 22nd of July. You're playing on a yellow coloured sheet. The reference number is S5. It's game number 29. The numbers are 50, 88, 57, 61, 23, 86, 46, 58, 43 and 39. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 p.m. tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book. Get all your NCBI Radio Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
This summer, think barbecue, think fresh meat and poultry. All available every day at Quisla Supermarket. Think fresh bread, salads, sauces and drinks. We have everything to make the barbecue extra special and tasty. Open 7 days for your convenience. Quisla Supermarket, where quality and value are assured.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Summer garden clearance at Homeland. Madrid, Leon or Monaco patio planters, buy one, get one free. Outback Sizzler 4-burner barbecue half price, only €199. Ice bucket with Bluetooth speaker, €29.99, save €20. Shop our full range of offers in store and online at homeland.ie while stocks last.
If you're starting a new business in 2022, call into BizPrint today and get sorted. Logo design, invoice books, business cards and all your printing needs. Call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 9177955 or visit bizprint.ie.
The Laurentic Tractor Run, the 23rd of July in aid of eye care. Leaving the Laurentic Bar at 10 a.m, going around Inishowen. Returning back to the Laurentic for raffles, auctions, plus bouncy castle for the kids. Live music by Seamus Moore, the JCB Man. For more information, see Laurentic Bar Tractor Run. This ad is kindly sponsored by McKenna Centre Buncrana and Service Station Drone Quigley's Point.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. I'm delighted to welcome into studio Pat Boyle, is builder and developer at Sweeney's Hotel in Dunlow. Good morning to you, Pat. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
Now, talk to me about Sweeney's Hotel and what you've been doing over the last while, because we're all going to be able to watch a lot of this at your service on RTE this Monday night. But talk to me about where Sweeney's was at, and where you tried to bring it, or where you are bringing it.
So Sweeney's Hotel opened its doors in around 1850 by John Sweeney. It was the second oldest family-run hotel in Ireland. I think as a hotel, it closed approximately 25 years ago, and we purchased it in 2018 with the benefit of planning and design. We hope to have the project finished for 2021, and COVID and any number of other issues impacted us on that. But we are very close to getting over the line now.
How big of a revamp is it, Pat?
It's a multi-million euro investment, and it's been completely taken back to the bare bones. And I think we put about a 12,000 square foot extension on it. So it's a significant change to the original model, and I hope that when it's completed, it will be a major asset to the area.
Yeah, and speaking to people down there, because we were down there at the Waterfront, which is another hotel you have an interest in there as well, and in terms of employment, in terms of attracting people to the area, I mean, it's huge for the local area, and the locals get that too.
Yeah, we're now one of the largest employers in that part of the world. I think we employ in excess of 120 people now collectively throughout, our organisation. And so, yeah, it's a big investment in the area and in the people of that area.
Now, what I don't understand is that's tough enough, everything you're doing, right? Why then do you do it under the watchful eye of cameras?
Well, again...
How did that happen?
Well, the Brennan brothers, Francis and John, obviously, they're very talented and have many assets to their bow. They, I believe, got wind of the fact that we were developing the Sweeney's Hotel, and with their watchful eye and what they brought to the project, we were very grateful of, and so they had some great ideas, and we didn't take them all up, but a lot of them we did use, and we're very grateful for their input.
Right, okay. You mentioned Francis Brennan. He joins us on the line now. You can put your headphones on there. Pat, good morning to you, Francis. Hello.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Great to have you with us. In terms of the scale of this project and the time frame and all the complications, of course, that came with COVID, how does this rank with other projects that you have worked on?
Well, I had grey hair for a long number of years, but it's gone twice as grey now.
At least you're holding on to it,
though. All the programmes. I am. That's true. Actually, very funnily, Maggie, our director on the show, who Pat knows well too, she said, I was talking to her like that back in the early May or something. She said, the best thing about this series is that John and you, we don't age, because we're at the series 2.5 years. And if I had black hair at the start and I had gone grey, people would be thinking, who's your man? So she said the best thing about it is that we're not aging. But no, that's not. That was only a bye. No, it was a very the Sweeney's particularly was a very difficult project, because it was the biggest project, maybe the biggest project we ever did on the show, I think, from a build point of view. And of course, it fell foul of COVID. Open, close, staffing, construction workers, bricks were a problem for ages, Pat will tell you there. And all of those things combined to make it a very difficult opening.
But the bigger the budget, sort of maybe the bigger the ambition, the more, expensive options that could be there. I presume there's a lot of toing and froing.
Oh, absolutely. And, the bigger the project, the more pitfalls there are when you come to doing things. And Pat, he was great because he held on to the construction workers for a lot of the time when they weren't allowed to work. So that was good. And, the bricks became, he'll tell you there, I don't know, is Pat beside you in the studio, that the bricks were a big problem, weren't they, Pat?
Indeed, Francis, a lot of the substrates that we would use for the project, procurement would become very difficult throughout the whole COVID, and the Brexit had a big impact on, just obtaining different materials and significant hikes in costs.
And Francis, of course, you want best for the people that you're working with, but from a programming maker's perspective, this makes it all the more interesting for the viewer. I mean, obviously, I have all the sympathy in the world for Pat and the team, but they're getting there; they're over the line. But it makes for a much more rich televisual experience, because it hits all the problems lots of people are facing.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, luckily, in some degree, our programme is an hour-long programme this year. We have only been on half our programmes, but RTÉ commissioned it to be an hour this year. So it gave us more time to tell the story. And the story is very much business-orientated, insofar as these are the pitfalls of life when you're trying to open a business. And Pat, they're not open yet, as you know. So Pat still has a bit to go. But it's just the way life is. And people, like ordinary people watching it on television, will get a great learning from it, because they'll see exactly what is necessary in business to get going.
Yeah, and of course, too, you'd be very familiar with the history of Sweeney's Hotel. And things slip into disrepair and aren't used. it's a lovely thing to be part of, restoring such an important, iconic building in such a beautiful part of the world. I mean, that's something you leave behind you. There's an importance to that. Oh, a lot of projects have that, don't get me wrong. But do you get where I'm coming from, Francis?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I didn't even think of this now, but we ourselves, John and I, we bought the Lansdowne Hotel. Actually, Pat said his was the second oldest. He's right, because ours is the oldest family hotel in Ireland. It's been going since 1846 or whatever it was, some way back in the middle of the 1800s. And we bought that hotel out of liquidation. It was in liquidation in Kerry, and we bought it out of liquidation, and we restored it and reopened it. Now, we weren't in the build situation, so we were very lucky, but we had 2 extra rooms which had been storerooms in the hotel, and we were turning them into bedrooms, and we had to wait. We only opened them in the last 6 weeks, and the rest of the hotel opened last July, because we couldn't get workers, we couldn't get electricians, and we couldn't get plumbers because it just weren't available. And then when we got all of them, we couldn't get the taps to fit the bath, and we couldn't get a proper tap that fitted the bath, and we had to wait 2 months for those. So listen, talk about turmoil and grey hair. We share it down here with Passion in Donegal.
All right, good stuff. Why should people watch on Monday? I mean, obviously, you know, there's going to be huge viewing figures here in Donegal, because we love the local interest. But tell us why you're proud of this show in particular.
Well, it's a very good show. It showcases the trials and tribulations of opening a business, and you see everything that's necessary to get a good business going, and all the work that goes into creating menus, and we haven't done that yet now, but like all of the work that's necessary to get a hotel open, you'll see it there on Monday night.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much indeed, Francis. Pat, when do you hope to have the hotel opened?
We'll have it open at the latter part of this year. The courts are closed for August and September, so we have a date for our licensing at the early parts of October, and so we'll be open for November.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be opening at a funny time, isn't it? Because, you know, I think you know much better than I, because of your business interests. I think already people are starting to hold on to their money, whether or not they need to or not. You know, the discretionary spending or the surplus income. It's going to be an interesting time to be opening a multi-million euro developed hotel.
Well, that's correct. But there's many sides to that hotel, and I think we've actually got 5 bars going in there, and a pizzeria. And
how big is it? 5 bars?
Yeah, artisan bakers. So, again, there are many facets to the new development. And, well, I try to look at the positive.
Good.
And so the positive is we can have time to... settle into our new shoe, so to speak, and they're going to be a snug fit, to say the least.
So why this level of investment in this part of the world? As I say, we already know you've got the waterfront there, a huge investment there as well. We were up there, as I mentioned. Even just the gym itself would rival anything anywhere. And I know there's more work happening, more rooms being opened. Like, why such a level of investment, and why not in that part of the world?
Well, this again, hopefully... identifies the diaspora in a great light. My cousin Kevin, he's based in Chicago. You know, I was based in London, and our fathers come from originally from that part of the world. A very small island called Easter Island. My mother's from Burton Ports. So it's, we're coming home, and we're trying to give something back. Possibly when our parents left, these shores. They weren't in a position to do what we're lucky enough to be doing now.
Yeah, and it adds to what already is there on offer. It becomes a destination, and people coming, and it's right across all different types of people will be able to be attracted to both hotels. They come with a spend, and you market there, you market Aaron Moore there presumably, or you market the rest of the Wild Atlantic Way. It's not just the business within the walls of both properties.
Absolutely.
This has a huge impact on the broader economy.
We very, it's our wish and our desire to make this a destination resort. There's so much to offer there, and one of the greatest assets of that part of the world are the people, to be frank. You get a very big welcome wherever you go, whether it's in somebody's house or into, one of the shops in the main street Dunlow, and that whole part of West Donegal is iconic in my mind.
Yeah, and it's obviously there's a business model here. You're not throwing money at something. But it's nice that there's a heart element to this and a head element to this as well, and the heart seems pretty strong in this project between you and your cousin.
Well, that's right, and for many people, I think it was quite a shock to actually discover that I had one.
Well, maybe you're only showing it now. Is that it?
Yeah, I just discovered it last week. So that, it's very much done with the heart, to be honest, Greg. And obviously we're businessmen, but I've always believed that in whatever business I've been in, and I've been in many, that if you look after the client, the customer, the money generally will follow, but that has to be the main focus, is looking after the client.
Yeah, and staffing as well. I mean, that you're going to be employing a lot of people, presumably in times to come as well.
We believe that we will be employing around hitting the 200 number by the end of next year.
Is that on both sites or just on Sweeney's?
No, that's collectively. We have the Thatch Bar and Restaurant as well in Glentees, and construction company, and bed and breakfast. So we're heavily involved in the hospitality industry.
That place, that's the place on the corner in Glentees, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So just opposite the Highland Hotel.
Yeah, beautiful spot as well.
Yeah,
a huge investment in there, seemingly.
That's right. We opened that last year, and again that employs 20 people. So.
What's next? Give me an exclusive.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
building a golf course. What are you going to do next?
In the back garden of Sweeney's, a putting green possibly.
All right, pitch and putt maybe. Listen, it's going to be fascinating. I think there could be a part 2 to this. I'm not sure if it's in the plans, but we're going to see it all now. As you mentioned, the challenges of the pandemic, you'll have masks off and on the whole way through the hour. I'd say continuity on this one would have been a bit of a challenge.
Absolutely.
All right, okay. Well, we can't wait to see it. It's on. It's at your service, of course. Francis Brennan's program. He's a hospitality expert and presenter of At Your Service. Do you knock heads much?
Not really, no. I felt that we got on very well. He's a lovely chap, as his brother John. And it was a delight to work with the whole team.
All right, so At Your Service is on RTE1 this Monday night, the 25th of July at 9:35 p.m. and it features Sweeney's Hotel in Dunlow, and it gives us a behind-the-scenes look, because people passing and they say, right, what's going on in that? We're going to get to see that now.
It's like the TARDIS, to be frank.
Yeah.
It looks like something relatively small from the outside, but when you go in through the doors, then it opens up into a whole new world.
Excellent. Okay, it's all very exciting. It's going to be some opening. Thank you very much, Pat.
Got a mug.
Take care of yourself. That's Pat Boyle there. We'll be back with more after the break.
I'm not the kind of person who wants to sit in a metal box. I don't want to slowly die in traffic. I want to ride a motorbike. And I want to keep riding a motorbike. I don't want to suddenly die in traffic. I'm not the kind of person who wants to lie in a wooden box.
Biking is a joy. Don't let it kill you. A third of bikers who have died on our roads were speeding. So ease off the throttle and keep within the speed limit. From the Road Safety Authority.
Give your vegetables the best start possible with Veggie Mix from Gortley Sales and Hire. Veggie Mix is weed-free for 3 years and is perfect in a raised bed, polytunnel or to improve your soil. Veggie Mix at Gortley Sales and Hire, Letterkenny.
This summer, make some magical memories with family and friends at the Northwest's biggest adventure water park and inflatable assault course at the Shorefront Mayville with Inish Adventures. There's a whole world of fun waiting for you this summer. Kayaking, paddleboarding, banana boating, storm rides, sailing. Perfect for birthday parties, hen or stag parties, or a great family day out. Plus a cafe on site. For more details, call Inish Adventures Mayville or online at inishadventures.com.
The Northwest Independent Clinic is now Kingsbridge Private Hospital. Yes, we have arrived in Ballykelly, and if you need treatment or surgery, there is no need to wait. At Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest, you will have access to over 300 consultants and hundreds of treatments and services. We are approved by all major insurance companies and self-pay options are available. In fact, treatment could cost less than you think. And with guaranteed 5-star care from treatment right through to your personalised recovery plan, we will be with you every step of the way. So why wait? Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com today.
Progress is always possible. It's about completion, not compromise. On one side, future-thinking Audi technology. On the other, meaningful experiences enabled by it. And with every uncompromising, precisely designed detail is a willingness to design an offer that suits you at your nearest Audi dealership. An altogether more forward Audi way of looking at things, don't you think? Because the future is more than a destination. Future is an attitude.
Kelly Construction are recruiting a civil construction manager to work in the Caribbean. A minimum of 10 years experience is required. Accommodation, transport and work permit will be provided, as well as 3 flights home per year. Salary is negotiable depending on experience. Employees are awarded bonuses based on their performance. To apply, send your CV to info@thekellygroupinc.com. That's info@thekellygroupinc.com.
Trees, grass, allergies. You won't take me down. Don't let pollen ruin your plans. Say yes to life outdoors with fast-acting, long-lasting, 24-hour relief. Telfast Allergy. Now available over the counter from your local pharmacy. Telfast Allergy tablets contains fexofenadine hydrochloride. Always read the label. Distributed in Ireland by Clonmel Healthcare.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
They say you should have your second baby first, because with your second baby, you'll have learned what to do, what not to do, what's best for baby and best for you. Like the Loopy Loo range from Lidl. Everything your baby needs, including award-winning nappies from only 99 cent. When you know what to do, Loopy Loo. Available exclusively at Lidl. More for you. See our full range at lidl.ie/Loopy Loo.
Treat your garden to a makeover at GMG Stone Letterkenny. We offer great value on decorative stone, garden paving, slabs and artificial grass. All tailored to your needs with home delivery available. We also supply railway sleepers, whiskey barrels and place sand. All available for pickup or delivery. Open Monday to Saturday from 9:30am to 6pm. You will find us beside Donaghy Motorhomes on the Port Road. For an appointment, call 087 647 9121. GMG Stone, just what your garden needs.
This is a radio ad, voiced by an actor, made by a producer. It's all pretty straightforward. But when it comes to radio, there's more than meets the ear. If you're someone who's always wondered what goes on behind the mic, then the Learning Waves SkillNet 360 Broadcast Bootcamp course could be for you. You learn all about radio from some of the best people in the industry, from music presentation, music links, research, interviewing and editing, to voice training, and how to produce and present features for local, regional and even national radio. Better still, it's all free and fully funded by Learning Waves SkillNet through the SkillNet Ireland Skills Connect programme. All you have to do is apply before Friday, August 13th on learningwaves.ie. Go on, it could be your lucky day.
Oh, wow, even national. 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp or text number. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. Let's look at your comments. AIB, a company saved by the taxpayer, a company that makes millions of profit every year, 600. And do not pay a penny in tax. This government have a lot of important questions to answer. Another, AIB were bailed out to the tune of 20 billion and in one of the banks who don't pay tax on their profits. Hi Greg, going cashless is nonsense. How are we going to give children money at birthdays, communions, confirmations, etc.? Everything you do is going to be taxed and traced. Closing down rural banks and post offices while encouraging us to use our cars less. Yeah, there's a few ironies in it. They close banks, so you have to travel further to go to a bank, but say don't use your car. They don't want us living in rural Ireland, do they? It's societal control by banks. They don't deserve to say they help communities. Why should they have the ability, nay the right, to simply flick a switch and leave people in a problematic situation? It's about time we had a state-operated bank like a co-op. I kind of think that they see the credit union post office networks as that sort of that German model. Greg, I went to the bank during the week asking for some help to transfer money from a current account to a savings account, but because I couldn't do it myself online, I would have to wait several weeks for someone to help me. I don't know what people like me who are not able to do online banking ought to do. If you have everything in a current account and get scammed, as many are, we lose everything. I'm going to close my account because banks are no longer of any help to me. Yes, and it's going to get more like that, I imagine. Hi, Greg. Does no one remember when Ulster Bank's system crashed and people's cards wouldn't work for up to 3 weeks? Progress is one thing, but this galloping beyond society, its requirements must be stopped. It's not about our requirements. It's about they don't want to use cash. It's expensive to use cash, and they don't want it. You know, you don't have to pay fees if you go to the likes of Revolut because they don't deal in cash, so you don't pay your fees if you want. So, I mean, I just don't think they want to deal in cash. Hi, Gregory. Cashless moves by bank. Being a pensioner, I draw my pension in cash each time it arrives in my account from the bank, and I'm not able to check my balance each time. Checking the balance is not possible at the post office. From time to time, various bodies require a bank statement from me. In a cashless situation, They will be able to see what I spend my money on. This is none of their business, and I resent the possibility that they will have this overview of my life. It's hard to get a statement from your bank, and it's expensive too. But I take your point. Greg, my question is, what is the option if the internet goes down? I got humiliated twice paying for diesel. Since that, I always carry cash and feel I can't do without some cash. Yeah, we've all been in that boat. And you go to certain parts of Donegal, and the cash machines, the tap or card machines can be temperamental, to say the least. Hi, Greg. It's older people. They like to go to the bank and get cash out. People will start lifting their money out of AIB. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I 100% there are older people, but I don't think it's just older people. There's a lot of people who have difficulties with technology or nervous of technology of all age groups. But I don't think the young ones you see, and I think that's what they're banking on, no pun intended. I think most people under 30, they probably think that we're old codgers having this conversation. But there's a lot of people, I think 30 to 60, let's use that category, who prefer cash and want to deal in cash. And that's the way they do it. They want to have that engagement with it. But there's a lot of them are digital. And I think there's a lot of 60-plussers who are also digital, doing digital cashless transactions and stuff as well. So I think it's across the board, down to a certain age cohort. Like my eldest boys, they've no interest in cash. They understand money. They have to work and earn money, and they understand how much things cost, and they have a value on money. But cash, they've no value on that. And being followed and tracked by companies, they love it. They've no interest in that. It doesn't bother them in the slightest. That is the world in which they've grown up in. Hi, Greg. The digitalization of these services is killing jobs. There's no benefit to going to a self-service. I wonder, people, were you ever one of those that sort of said, these self-service tills in shops, you thought, oh my God, it's a disgrace. They shouldn't be in here. I'm never going to use them. And then did you start using them? And if so, why? I wonder, did our resistance didn't last very well to that, did it? Because there's more and more of them everywhere. Hi, Greg. We can't go cashless. What about people in abusive relationships? They'll always have to have access to cash. We can't let this cashless society happen. There's going to be cash. I think there's always going to be cash. Pierce Doherty said the central bank is committed to do that. You can believe that or not. But we're going to be using cash less and less because more shops are not going to want it because it costs money. And there's no banks. That's the way we're going. The motivation for that, whether it's something or other, I don't know. All charities will suffer exponentially in a cashless society and is an enemy of free will. Look, I get you, but a lot of people's collecting on the streets now. They have tap machines, buskers. You might say, well, what about buskers? A lot of buskers, you sit €2, €5, €10, you tap their these machines. They're like €99, and the fees aren't that big on them. It's not hard now, and I think anyone who's out selling GEA Lotto needs to get one of these wee machines as well. Not because I want us to go in that way, but if they want to have money, if they want to have money to, if they want to have be able to receive the money. If we have a savings account, how can we get it out when we need it? Very good question. I don't agree with it. I can't give my grandchildren or great-grandchildren the odd fiver. You've no freedom to do as you wish. Yeah, that's a big thing, and it's maybe that's a more generational side of it as well. They might welcome the €5 into the Revolut equally, but you want to give them the fiver. Can your panel foresee a near future when in a cashless society that your money card will only tap for a certain amount of petrol, coal, food to limit freedom in the name of climate change? That's the end goal here. Well, look at there may well be fuel rationing coming up shortly. Who's to say? It's happened in the past. It happened in the 70s and 80s, whereby per person going up to a garage, you're only allowed to put in a certain amount of fuel. I don't think they need control of your bank account to do that. And people can have multiple accounts, multiple cards in multiple names, but that's more difficult. But, if it's about restricting the petrol and coal, they can do that now. 1 bag per customer. Aldi and Lidl do that now already, 1 item per customer. So I don't know if that's the motivation. They're already able to do that quite easily, but Bank of Ireland to get rid of ATMs. Letterkenny Shopping Centre now has €2 somethings ATMs. Also, this so-called hotchpotch unwanted government is already dead, but if they don't step in here with the IRB, that will bury them all together. If you're waiting for the opposition to interfere in the day-to-day businesses of AIB, by the way, you're in for a disappointment. They aren't going to. They might campaign for it, and it's easier to do that in opposition than in government, but they're not going to get involved in the day-to-day running of a bank as the bank is right now. I was thinking of changing to AIB, but now I think that the bank don't really care too much about the public consideration. All the banks were bailed out. But the problem is we have a dual opoly. So if you want to protest, you can only go to Bank of Ireland. If you want cash in branch, cash machines associated with your account. So, they have you each way.
Summer garden clearance at Homeland. Omega 200 gas barbecue, €179, save €50. Madrid patio planters, buy one, get one free. 2.7 metre aluminium parasols in a range of colours, €49.99, save €10. Shop our full range of offers in store and online at homeland.ie while stocks last.
Who still hasn't managed to get the barbecue out? Well, better late than never, because at Lidl we've got sizzling deals, like 4 Irish beef quarter pounders for $2.29, 20% off barbecue accessories, and Super Savers lettuce and corn on the cob, just 49 cents each. No excuses now. Get grilling. Lidl, more for you.
Experience everything this summer has to offer here at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, with a wide range of shops and services packed with great choice and value for you to explore. You can enjoy free parking, Wi-Fi and take a break with our popular outdoor seating area. Letterkenny Shopping Centre. We can't wait to see you.
Are you looking to make a bigger impact at work? Join the team at Optum in Letterkenny, where we're collecting the brightest people, places and ideas to create better healthcare. As one of our claims or appeals representatives, you'll make a meaningful difference, providing first-class customer service and support. Come to our virtual hiring event on August the 3rd to take the next steps in a career with Optum. Register today at uhg.hr/event. That's uhg.hr/event.
Hegarty's Auto Body Repairs in Letterkenny have been keeping cars on the road across the Northwest for the past 50 years. Hegarty's are the only Ford-approved body shop in the Northwest, but repair all makes and models. Paintless dent removal, windscreen replacement and restoration work. Hegarty's even mix their own paint. Approved by most insurance companies and certified Steel Standards Ireland. That's Hegarty's Auto Body, Letterkenny. For all vehicle repairs. See Hegartys.com.
Summer sale now on at Florid Letterkenny. Up to 30% off selected lines of engineered and laminate flooring. But hurry, this summer sale will not last forever. Call into our showroom today and avail the fantastic offers or view our stock at florid.ie. Offers only while stocks last.
Okay, now we are joined in studio by Paul Gillespie, PRO of the Donegal Diabetes Association. Paul, great to speak to you again. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for inviting me in.
No, it's good to have you in. Right, okay. This is a complex one, I think, for those sort of outside of this world, if you know what I mean. So we'll do our best to get the big points and the big concerns across so that everyone can sort of get a handle on it. A lot of this comes down to concerns about resources for type 1 diabetes at Letterkenny University Hospital. So what kind of services does someone with type 1 diabetes require in their local acute hospital?
Yeah, mainly, well, one of there has to be a full team, endocrinologists and a full team of nurses, ideally an ANP as well. Letterkenny, with the volume of patients around Donegal, actually we believe should have 3 full endocrinologist teams. In 2016, the hospital was approved for a second endocrinologist to be full-time. To date, that post has never been filled. So there's something seriously amiss whenever it's taken so long to fill a position, which is so badly needed. And the waiting lists they were getting extremely bad during COVID. There was actually nearly you're supposed to have a review with an endocrinologist for type 1 diabetes, maximum every 6 months. Letterkenny, even before the pandemic, was around 18-20 months. During the pandemic, it went to almost 3 years.
Right, so why is it important? So it's back to 20. So why is it important? What happens in that? Is it about how maybe how someone's condition is assessed, the treatment? Is that why? I presume it's international best practice that 6 months intervals is the desired interval period.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the complications of type 1 diabetes are quite serious. No, you can have loss of eyesight, you can have ulcer problems, you can have circulation problems. So it's critical that type 1 diabetes is quite different from type 2 in that type 1 diabetes, the pancreas just completely stops producing insulin. So you're on insulin injection regime or pump therapy. So every 6 months, you need to meet the endocrinologist to review how your HbA1c is doing, which can tell how your insulin levels are doing. And there's a target, and then the endocrinologist advises on whether to increase the insulin, reduce the insulin. Like you can have hypos, which are very, very serious. So it's to keep a good control of the pattern of insulin.
Yeah. So it makes, obviously living with type 1 diabetes in and of itself, it's a lifelong illness that you have to live with. But when you're not getting the proper treatment, what is best? And the time frame between being seen, not 6 months, but indeed 20 or up as high as 24, it must be very anxious. People must be very worried, and that surely has to complicate things because you don't know if your conditioning is getting worse, if you're actually getting the treatment that gives you the best outcomes.
Yeah, and I mentioned the eye conditions. Sometimes, like if you're not being seen for 20 months, by the time you're seen and reviewed, maybe you've been running too high for quite some time. So unfortunately, it will affect your eyesight as you start to get older, and it'll start younger for type 1 diabetes. So it is critical that the care is advanced. But also, like you mentioned, it is a chronic, life-threatening condition because if you don't look after it within 48 hours, you can end up seriously ill. But even though it's a chronic condition you're trying to live with, there's no psychology cover in Letterkenny Hospital. There's no psychologist to help out with diabetes care.
How does diabetes care for patients in Donegal compare with other areas of the country?
Well, that's always the terrible sticking point. Below the Dublin-Limerick line, they have centres of excellence. They have plenty of endocrinologists. So if you attend anywhere below Dublin-Limerick line, your appointments, we believe they're about a year of recall, so they're certainly under pressure as well, but they're still being seen within a year. Okay. But whenever they go in, they see an endocrinologist, they see an ANP, they see the dietitian, they see a psychologist, all in one appointment. That's just not happening. It's not available.
This is air code discrimination then.
Oh, terribly, yes.
And we welcome the fact that people in the south of the country get these services, but we have to ask, why are we discriminated against simply because of where we live?
Exactly, yeah. And this is the model of care that's been signed off by government. Leo Varadkar was one of, whenever he was minister, signed off the one to do with childcare. And even the Centre of Excellence, there's serious questions have to be asked of Silcha as well, because there's now centres of excellence, 5 throughout the Dublin-Limerick line. Silcha were supposed to be promoted. Silcha still do not have a centre of excellence anywhere in their area, and they have no plans. You probably remember a few years ago we were running to Dublin to the meetings with the Minister Harris then, and HSE and Silcha were around the table and they were all saying, oh yeah, we have to get a centre of excellence, it's best practice. But whenever we met with Sean Murphy there a few weeks ago, and we said to Sean, how has things developed during the COVID lockdown? And he says, oh no, because at one of our last meetings in 2019 with Sean, he had mentioned that the old outpatients building could be developed for the Centre of Excellence. At this meeting now, he has said, no, that building has now been used for somewhere else, and they're looking at a 10-year plan of where they can accommodate diabetes. But also, he says, Silcha have no plans whatsoever for a Centre of Excellence anywhere in the Northwest.
So if you were prepared to travel then, Paul, say, for instance, to Galway, and that does fall under the Silcha group we talk of, could you be seen more frequently? In other words, are they trying to encourage patients from Donegal to travel further? And if you were prepared to do so, would you be seen more regularly?
The 2 points I'd make. There seems to be an issue with resources from Silcha into the Northwest, but there also seems to be an issue with resources from government into the Silcha area, because even if you needed to travel, you'd be better to travel to Dublin, because Galway still don't have they don't have a centre of excellence.
But my point is are they trying to get us to travel? In other words, is this a move to say, if you wanted to, could you go and be seen more regularly in Dublin if you were prepared to undertake that travel?
You can certainly, yeah.
We see is that where we're going here, really? Well, it's a centralisation of services.
That is a serious concern, yeah. And even like when we mentioned with Sean Murphy, at the Dublin meetings with the politicians, it was agreed that because of Donegal's geographical area, that the Centre of Excellence needs to be shared because the guideline is for every 300 children, there should be 2 endocrinologists. Letterkenny has over 150 children, which would indicate, you should have 1 endocrinologist. There's no endocrinologist anywhere in the Northwest. Sligo, since I last spoke to you, actually, myself and Caroline Barrett were invited down to Sligo to the opening of a new building. So Sligo got a new dedicated diabetes building, and at that, actually, Donegal were thanked for all their lobbying to promote diabetes in the Northwest. But again, there was no mention of even Sligo being a centre of excellence, which is like what we were hoping that was going to be their building, and then we would get our building, and the shared centre of excellence would go into both buildings. But at the minute, that is not on the cards. For
right. So in the last couple of minutes, you want a meeting with the Minister for Health. What are you going to say to him?
Oh, we're going to actually highlight all the different issues that to do with, like the fact that the second endocrinologist for adults was never appointed. The Letterkenny recently applied for an ANP, which is Advanced Nurse Practitioner, in diabetes care for adults. We have one in paediatric care, which is doing... The paediatric care actually has advanced greatly, but when you move then from paediatrics, turn 18 and you move into adult care, it's a cliff edge, and you get very, very poor care then. So the ANP is vitally needed as well, because adults across Donegal are never offered pump therapy, even though the government fully acknowledge that pump therapy is the gold standard and everyone should be offered it because it can help. But it's not available to anybody in Donegal. If they want to start on pump therapy, they either have to go to Dublin or Galway, or they can go on a long waiting list to Sligo. Sligo have now started to develop because they now have a second endocrinologist.
Do you think, is it possible that really their plan is to create the services in the Centre of Excellence in Sligo, so if people, want these services, that's where they have to go? That is being seen as the solution for the Donegal problem.
Well, you see, that is their simple solution from a point of view of only one building, but I mean from a geographical point and from where Donegal is located.
Unfortunately, they're not considering that, and they're not shy about saying that if you want these services, you're probably going to have to travel. That's the problem.
And that's why it's up to our politicians, to make sure. Like Minister McConlogue is sitting at the ministerial table.
Has he said anything positive in your direction?
No, we got a reply from him yesterday to confirm that we were promised, it wasn't promised, but it was suggested that there was going to be the meeting with the Minister now in July, and Charlie has now told us no, it'll be September at the earliest.
Right, okay.
So
we'll have a proper chat with you again ahead of September, and then hopefully speak to you after that meeting if we can't track down the Minister ourselves too in that period of time.
Could he just give you the good news of the day?
Yes, of course. Well, actually, you always bring a bit of good news, actually, in fairness, Paul.
Well, actually, there's 2 points of good news. Well, one's tinged a wee bit in that the other serious problem in Letterkenny Hospital is podiatry, the podiatry service. Unfortunately, the podiatrist there, I think she's there now 5 years. She was only ever employed as a junior podiatrist, but she was carrying a senior podiatrist role. And over the years, we have been warning if a senior podiatrist role came up anywhere else, she would leave because she's doing the role of a senior. Unfortunately, that has come to pass. So now Letterkenny at the minute have no podiatry cover whatsoever. It actually, even last year, with maternity leave, they had no cover, and anybody going into Letterkenny was actually being sent all the way to Galway, which was extended stays down there. But the good news is there's now Letterkenny have been told that they're going to appoint 2 podiatrists, so they will always have cover. The other bit of good news is
are they advertising those positions, or do they have the candidates ready to go?
I think the first one they have a candidate. They're being offered 2.
Okay, good.
But the second one has to be. I think it has to be advertised because it's a new post.
Right.
Now the other bit of good news is for type 2 diabetes in the community is that with Sláinte Care, there's been a great increase now in the hub, which is now based in Letterkenny, but it's going to be right Donegal. That there's quite a few new ANPs, dietitians and nurses all being appointed to the hub. So type 2 diabetes is getting very good enhancement in care at the minute. Yeah, right, we welcome that.
Right, stay in touch with us, Paul, as you always do, and we'll if there's any progress between now and September or anything else we can do, let us know. But thanks for giving us an update on the way things are at the moment. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
thank you.
That is Paul Gillespie there, who is the PRO of the Donegal Diabetes Association. 086 60 25,000, that is the WhatsApp or text line, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. right, Michael and Fionnuala are going to be joining us very, very shortly for the last hour of the show. We've other guests as well, but it's 11 o'clock, so let's get a news update. Say good morning now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Agriculture Minister says AIB needs to reconsider and reverse its decision to convert 70 of its branches to cashless locations. Cash and cheque services are to be removed from 6 branches in Donegal. Minister Charlie McConlogue says AIB need to look at their own history. Further concerns are being raised over a lack of student accommodation. Councillor Michael McLaughlin says the housing crisis is severely impacting third-level students who are unable to secure accommodation in many towns and cities across the country. In one case, a second-year student from Donegal who stayed in hotels last year may be forced to drop out of their course as they are unable to find accommodation. Almost 1 in 3 frontline workers have yet to receive the €1,000 pandemic bonus. By July the 8th, figures show over 68,000 had received their payment. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly said last month the delay was down to prolonged discussions between parties. Gardaí and Donegal are appealing to motorists to avoid parking in disabled parking bays unless less authorised to do so. Disabled parking bays, they say, are limited and if occupied by motorists without a valid permit are denying those most in need. A senior executive at TSC in Letterkenny says the company wants to establish itself as one of the top IT companies in the country. Speaking on Highland Radio's Business Matters podcast, Strategic Initiatives Director Gerard Grant said the Donegal operation will be a key element of that process. And the shorefront amenity on Armour Island is being officially opened today. The development of the recreation, outdoor amenity and amphitheatre is part of the €4.1 million Burton Port and Arnmore Harbour to Island Rural Regeneration Project. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much, Michaela. We'll be back with more after the break.
It's massive savings on garden furniture now in Home Store and More. You can save hundreds of euro on a great range of garden furniture, dining sets, rat and corner lounge sets, egg and hanging chairs, gazebos, and much more. See for yourself. It's massive savings on garden furniture now in your local Home Store and More, or online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
If you've got great photos sitting on your phone or in the cloud, why not visit mcgees.ie and see the range of creative options available. Get larger 7x5 prints for the same price as a standard 6x4s, with 100 prints for just €12. Or select from the great range of photo gifts like mouse and placemats, phone covers, jigsaws and clocks. Click and collect or have them delivered. See what you can do with your favourite photos online at mcgees.ie.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'll be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'll be them. 07491 43942.
New lump sum payment for farmers. For more in your Farmer's Journal. Here's Paul Mooney.
Average suckler and sheep farmer to get €14,000 per year in organic switch. Minister Ryan promises more money for farmers who change how they farm. We report on the ground from farmer protests in the Netherlands. In Irish Country Living, top money saving tips to help you manage your finances. And don't miss our Tullamore Farm Open Day next Tuesday.
Get full details inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal, on sale now.
Call into Cool Creamery and Coffee Dock Ballybuffet this Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. to celebrate their first birthday. There's live music with Mad Marcus, face painting for the kids, and €250 in vouchers for local businesses to be given away. Free entry into the draw with every purchase this week. That's this Saturday at Cool Creamery and Coffee Dock Ballybuffet.
Okie doke, we welcome into studio now Michael Leddy, who is a writer and blogger, and Fionnuala Rabbit. Good morning, the pair of you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Did you miss me last week? I know, obviously, this is no reflection of Donal, it's a safe pair of hands, but you know.
Oh, terribly. It was
There
strange.
is this haircut new, or is this?
It was
did
strange.
you have this last week?
It was strange to come in and have the host be nice and respectful to me for the full hour. I wasn't used to that at all.
The summer haircut. When did you do it?
I did it early this week.
Good. What do you think? It's nice, isn't it? Nice and fresh.
The first time I saw it, I did one. It does remind me of those haircuts. You remember when there used to be the lice notice that come around at school? And there was
It's like a sheep.
No, you're just getting too
You
close.
shear him for the summer.
It's
Too
very
close
late
to the
in
truth.
it's very late in the year for it. But
Well,
yes,
it's true,
it
the
is
heat
very-
waves
it
are
does
coming
suit him.
hard and
Of
fast.
course it is. No, he's got
Hard
6
and
weeks
fast.
of it. And you have that luxury, which is nice as well.
Aw.
I was watching. I started watching Murder in the Building.
All the murders in the
yes.
building.
All the Murders in the Building. Both of you like that, did you? Or
I
was
haven't seen it
you
yet.
familiar?
No,
but I'm
me, I was
excited
very
to see it.
Enjoyable. It's nice. Good
Yeah,
show.
it's just kind of relaxed, nice. But to be honest, the one thing I liked about it as well is the second series. I'm kind of a third of the way into it now at this point because it's on a week by week, and it's still, even though it's practically the same thing, just they've got a lot of guest stars that are in it. There's a lot of background in it.
It's funny, but it's not ha funny. It's clever.
Yeah.
There is an element of what's going to happen, so it keeps you intrigued in it. Then there is the random sort of sting being in it.
Yeah.
And it's a good show. It's got a good heart to it. Like, it's nice. I like it. And I love to see the two older actors too. You know, they look fantastic and they're brilliant in their roles.
They are.
Like,
They're
it's
very
really-
good in it.
It's a good show. Like, I think I've got 2 episodes left of the first series. So.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you, Lee, for your Disney Plus subscription. That's all I can say to that. So yeah,
I'll
that's
give you a
on,
list of other stuff you should be watching on Disney.
That's on Disney Plus. So you need it because, as we said before, Disney Plus is a bit clunky to deal with. I think it's a bit. The menus aren't fantastic. Right, both of you went to see Black Phone in the cinema. So I'm going to start with you, Fionnuala, because you do my wages. Tell me about Black Phone.
Oh, well, I'm going to start off by telling you kind of made an error in judgment going to me first because I only went to see this because he made me.
I sort of dared her to go and see after she was scarred by, of all things, Final Destination.
Yeah. Was it
Death
one?
is coming
I
for
think
me,
2
and
or
it's
3
definitely
or
going to
something.
happen.
Yeah.
It was 1. Death is coming for me, and there's no escape.
It's coming for all of us.
I know, but
us, yeah.
it stuck with me. I'm not over it.
Okay.
But anyway, so we went to see. So Michael was saying, "Oh, come and see this. It's supposed to be really good."
I think this was a test of your friendship. This.
Yes. I
think
pitched
this
it
was-
3 different
Yeah,
weeks.
I think-
It took 3 weeks to
Yeah,
get her there.
because I know she was on the phone to someone going, bloody hell, I said I had to go to this bloody thing with Michael. So that's what I would do anyway.
To be honest, there was a lot of trepidation going into this because, like I said, I have, for some reason, and I don't know whether it's age or what happened, but I've become a big scaredy cat. And I used
Final
to.
Destination was a while ago.
I know. I know. That's what I mean.
So I don't think this is
That
a
was
new
in the
advent.
I know, but that's what I mean. But it's worse. It's gotten.
Right.
And I used to watch everything with gore and blood and anything that kind of made you scared you and made you jump. I used to love all that kind of thing.
The news.
But then, today now, definitely. But then I kind of just got off it. But so I was a bit nervous about going to see this, and I have to say I was very wrong because this is. I'm not 100% sure what genre you'd actually place this movie into. It isn't necessarily something. I wouldn't call it a horror. I wouldn't call it a thriller. And you wouldn't say it's just a drama. So, but yet it has elements of all of that. And
Well, The House on Haunted Hill, we all watched that. Is that
Yes.
is that like that though? I mean, it's not horror, is it?
Oh well, that's horror because that
Is
was
it?
that
Okay,
was full
right.
on.
So
sort
I'm
of horror.
trying to understand.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
Yeah.
about comparison here. To
well,
sort of get us-
this Black Phone and is basically what it is. I'd say it must be an independent movie first of all because Ethan Hawke is in it and God knows he does nothing that isn't a little bit left of field. And I wouldn't even recognise him in it now, I have to say, but he is in it. Was only when the credits came up that I went, oh God, yeah, that's who that is.
Well, you never see his face. That's why
Yeah.
you never see his
But
face.
in it, basically, it's this small town in America, and young boys, kind of looking like they're sort of 12, 14 kind of an age, in that sort of a bracket, are going missing. And there's been a series of boys that are going missing, and then this one particular boy that we've been following in it goes missing, and then it's kind of everything that happens after that with it. There's sort of a supernatural. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, you don't want to give too much away.
There's sort of a supernatural element to it. There's sort of a little bit of. There is some small amount of, but I would say, considering what it is, a small amount of violence in it. It's not really of.
So that means it's psychological horror then.
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
Well, you can say that the boy is kind of kept in a basement for a large part of it, and it's like waiting to see what's going to happen to him. It's the cycle, and the door then is left open deliberately, and the stairs are going up. Is it safe to go up the stairs? That kind of
playing with emotions on a.
Yeah, and there is a few times in it. There is a few times that you could kind of feel the hairs standing up, but it wasn't that it was something that you were seeing.
And it wasn't my lice either. That was a real thing. That was the thing.
Jump scares then. So this is not a jump scare movie.
Couple of times.
There is. There's a couple of times in it, but nothing more. But when the jump scares come, sometimes if the jump scares come and it's like too bloody or it's too gore, I don't really like that anymore now.
It's not your
like
thing.
even I was talking to somebody at the weekend, and I was saying, like a Quentin Tarantino movie and that kind of thing. I watch Quentin Tarantino movies behind my hands, because I love him when he does something like Pulp Fiction, when he does, you know what I mean, something like Reservoir Dogs. Even though they're violent, there's like a story or whatever too. But then other times, then he does stuff, and you're like, oh my god, these people are just slaughtering each other.
Yeah, I think the John Wick franchise moved that on a bit, whereby you can have that level of violence, but it's not as.
It's just
it's
if
not
there's
as
a
visceral,
story,
it's not
or
as
if,
bloody,
it's, if it's within the story or it's moving the story forward in some way.
Yes,
I think it washes over you a bit easier than if it's just constant. This doesn't have anything that you would be, oh God, like that sort of a feeling with it. But I have to say, it's a really enjoyable movie. There's some great acting in it. It's based on a short story that has been adapted for this. There's some great kids in it,
brilliant
young people acting in it. It's very. I think it is kind of like nearly a Black Mirror kind of a small bit of a feel to it. There's a little bit of this, little bit of that.
You know how we kind of opened maybe we opened up Michael Leddy to documentaries. Has this maybe opened your eyes a little bit to different genres of horror that you've avoided since Final Destination 1 in the 1990s?
It was on TV when I watched it. I saw it the first time. It was fine. It was in the 2000s. It freaked me out.
That was for comedic effect. Can't believe I have to explain.
Yeah, you ruined the joke, Fionnuala. You ruined the joke.
Let's just say it wasn't on your new telly, which is 2 years old now.
It wasn't on my new telly. It definitely did.
Excellent.
It definitely did. Now, I mean, because the story sort of held you with it. Now, there was a lot of things wrong with it. You know what I mean? It's not that it's perfection.
Not perfect. Yeah, it's not perfect.
It's not that it's perfection. There was a few kind of bits and pieces, and you were like, some of it, you're kind of like, I would like to have known more. I would like to have been a little bit more invested. But on the whole, you kind of sit through it. You do get that feeling every once in a while that you can kind of feel the hairs in the back of your neck stand up, which is what you want.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you kind of go and leapt, the couple of inches off your seat. It's also, which I have to say, I didn't realise, it's the cinema that it's in, the screen that it's in here, because we went to see it here in Letterkenny, but I'm sure it's probably in the Clips, other places as well. It's the one where you can, with the recliner seats. I didn't realise it was recliner. It was very comfy.
Come here, do you not fall asleep in them?
No, there's a sweet spot.
Yeah, you have to figure out just how to
find your sweet
recline it.
spot, how far to recline, and how because you could.
We had this discussion last night at about 2 minutes past 9 o'clock as Fionnuala played with the chair to figure out.
I'm at the age now with the lack of sleep for obvious reasons, whereby I don't get any warning now. I can just go.
Go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it is. But
and
this,
I've been
have
told I might make some noise when I'm sleeping. I'm told. I don't believe it.
You disbelieve it.
I don't believe
Imagine everyone getting their money back in the cinema because Greg was snoring.
I never said.
There's a guy in.
I never used the S word.
All right.
You're right. There's that one.
Well, I think this
So
will keep
what are you giving it out of
though.
10 then?
I would give it a strong 7.5, 8.
That's very impressive for all the reasons, because we know you. Right, over to you.
Same, probably an 8.5. I really enjoyed this. It mixes genres. There's horror elements in it. There's thriller elements in it. And without giving any spoilers away, there's a huge supernatural thing that's not just the ghost. There's other stuff going on. It's like a fantasy movie. It manages to pull everything together. The story is strong. I think it's just the right length. It's pacey. There's always something new happening. The kid's really good at the centre of it. 13-year-old Finn.
Mm-hmm.
And you really get behind this kid. And the gimmick, of course, is that there's in this cellar where he is held, there's this disconnected black phone. But the phone rings and the previous victims of the serial killer can speak to him. And they're able to give him tips as to what's likely to happen next.
Oh, you're totally heading into spoiler
Well,
territory
that's the name of it. But
I'm
that's
pull you up on it.
But that's what intriguing.
I'm
And
going to
you're
have to
like,
leave this now for a year
hook.
or two before I forget everything you
Everything
just
just
said.
said. But that's how the movie gets going. That's the start of the movie. The cast is good. There are scares. I thought it did its job brilliantly. 8.5 for me, anyway.
I think actually be a really good date movie or something like that kind of a movie. You know the way
And
where,
do you know why it'd be
where
good?
both
'Cause-
people are trying to decide
and
what
you
to
could
watch.
also, it's an excuse to sort of, grab their hand.
Yes.
Back in the day, that
You
would
know
have
what
been
I
the
mean?
thing.
You see
That
how
would have been
great-
the
you
thing
see how
back
you're
in the
my-
day.
you're
Grab their
playing
hand
it,
and
yeah.
go,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so scared.
No, I would
It's quite
definitely
nice.
say if you're not normally into this kind of thing, this
Good.
is definitely one. Or even if you want to put your toe in the water of this type of movie, this is definitely.
And
one.
because it's the smaller screen, it's still on for like the 4th week through the week. But book ahead because it's the smaller.
I
screen.
watched Secret Window last night with Johnny Depp in, and it's
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
similar to this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Not similar in the storyline, but it's hard to put what genre it's in.
Yeah.
Because it is scary. It's not scary. I didn't find it scary, but you can see how people go,
Yeah.
a wee bit at it. Terrible ending to the film, but anyway, and he sort of knew what was coming the whole way through. But it's on Netflix. No, it's not that bad.
That's a few years old, isn't it? It's like
it's ancient.
4 or 5 more. Yeah.
It's ancient. Right. Okay. Funny enough, he had issues with his partner and drank a lot of whiskey, but anyway, it was a film. Right. We'll be back with more after this break.
I'm not the kind of person who wants to sit in a metal box. I don't want to slowly die in traffic. I want to ride a motorbike. And I want to keep riding a motorbike. I don't want to suddenly die in traffic. I'm not the kind of person who wants to lie in a wooden box.
Biking is a joy. Don't let it kill you. A third of bikers who have died on our roads were speeding. So ease off the throttle and keep within the speed limit. From the Road Safety Authority.
On this week's Business Matters, I'll be joined by the Director of Strategic Initiatives at TCS in Letterkenny, Jared Grant. So join me, Kieran O'Donnell, for Business Matters on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. The Business Matters podcast is also available to download at highlandradio.com.
Business Matters, in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. The part-time Level 8 Honours degree in Business is delivered through a mix of online and face-to-face lectures. Email execedbusiness@lyit.ie. That's EXECED business@lyit.ie or call 9186206. If you're thinking of changing some furniture, a huge sale is now on at McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. It's a chance to save hundreds of euros on floor model suites, beds and mattresses, dining and occasional furniture, with reductions in all departments. It's a great opportunity to grab a real bargain in the big sale now on at McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Link Road, Letterkenny. See mcginleysfurniture.com.
Hi, it's Owen. I can't answer the phone right now. I'm currently enjoying the advanced comfort seats and suspension with progressive hydraulic cushions in my new Citroen C5 Aircross SUV. I'm really enjoying the drive, so please don't leave a message.
With Citroen's advanced comfort technology, you may end up travelling further than you planned. Experience Citroen Comfort, a 5-year warranty and flexible payment options across the range. For more, see citroen.ie.
Citroën. The new Citroen C5 Aircross is now available at your local dealer, Highland Motors, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Nutrius lamb feed offer, directly supported by the Arrivo Fodder Support Fund, is now available at your local Homeland store. Buy 10 bags of Nutrius Intensive Lamb or Nutrius Lamb Creep Crunch, get one free. Contains intake booster for higher intakes, better thrive and faster finish. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrius.ie for full product detail.
Okay, now, Blackbird is going to be released in September in cinemas. And this is one of those ones you would have thought it was a joke. I don't know if that's fair to say. You would think it's a joke?
We could all be surprised and it could end up being awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
so Michael
highly doubt
Flatley,
it.
right? Obviously, you wouldn't necessarily cast Michael Flatley as James Bond, right? So
Mm.
he obviously thought he had no chance of that. So what do you do?
Well,
You make
if you
your
have,
own-
if you're a
make your own-
billionaire,
you make
you're
your own James Bond.
Yeah.
So this has been on the burner for years, isn't it? It's been made for ages, but they've been holding it back.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it because they have made it. It has been made at least. I mean, this isn't even on like held back because of COVID. This has been held back
For
2
other
or 3
reasons.
years before that. I mean, you're assuming somebody went, "Oh God, what have I done?" and they're doing it. But as you said, it could end up being awesome. Michael Flatley plays the debonair James Bond type character. It also stars Eric Roberts, Patrick Bergin, Nicole Evans, and Ian Beattie, which we've seen in lots of different things over the last few years, Game of Thrones and stuff like that. So, like, there's a lot of actors in this that you'd
but
have seen in other
he
stuff.
potentially dug deep to get these people in. Like,
Oh, I feel Michael Flatley might be a
Did
throw
you see
cash
the
at the
trailer?
problem.
did you see the trailer? No.
No. Is it everything you?
Well, if that's the trailer,
Okay.
you know. And he's
I
suave
mean, I'm
and sophisticated.
I'm totally going to go and see this.
You have
Yes,
to see this.
I have to
Well,
see
listen,
this too.
I mean-
yeah.
It was on. It was that show at one of those film festivals, and this is only one person was motivated to review it and gave it 10 out of 10. I suspect this could be himself, but anyway. To be honest, I was skeptical before I went to see this in Monaco, but the opening sequence with Flatley on a yacht where he disables 12 Russian spies dissolved any concerns for the quality of this production. Jumping between iconic scenery in Ireland and Barbados, this thriller is up there with Sean Connery's bests. To keep past and present fans happy, Flatley produces an incredible tap dance sequence where he shoots knives from his shoes from the top of his bar while a ragtime tune plays. If you can get the chance to see this film, then don't let the opportunity pass you by.
Run, don't walk to the cinema.
I feel he threw money at the problem. Which, in fairness, if I had his money, I would be throwing money at all my problems and making all my dreams come true. But yeah, I everybody that I know who's mentioned this or who have read anything about it, because now, and it's having a limited release, so it may not even end up being in every cinema. So we may end up having to petition
Why hasn't
the
Netflix
local.
snapped it up? What are you laughing at?
Because Michael wants the big cinema, I would say.
Right.
I don't think Michael would like it to go
I
straight
think-
to
I
Netflix. He would
think
feel that I would.
There's a
Says
film
I
could
like
be
I've
made
met,
about
as
him
if I
making
met
this
Michael
film.
Flatley or
but
not.
no,
about
he's
him.
he's like.
I want to put it on the record. I actually want this to be brilliant. I want.
Oh,
all-
yeah. 100%.
I want people to have to say, you know what? Actually, that was fantastic.
Great film.
I want to walk out of this thinking, oh my God, I'd go and see this again.
Yeah.
How many times did you see?
Doctor Strange?
Yes.
I think is it 5 now?
There you go. I want Michael to have seen this at least 5 times and still be crying as it leaves the cinema. But I will get back to you. It's not being released until the 2nd September. If it turns out that it's not coming to any of the cinemas in Donegal,
You will travel.
We'll get a bus going. Should
I
we do
may
an
have
OB?
to use.
We'll get a
I
bus.
may have to use the 60,000 daily listeners of Highland Radio to get a petition going.
going.
I might have to get a petition going, or yes, hire a bus. We've got to see this movie somewhere. I just feel it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a life experience, whether awesome or not.
Yeah, the trailer is enough for me.
I can't wait to see the trailer now. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to rush
But
home to see it.
exactly
Wow.
what you would think someone who wants to look suave and sophisticated in a tuxedo and then to sort of look at the camera and say something.
Wow.
It's there for you.
The fact that he threw in the tap dancing, I'm so.
Now, I'm not sure if he did.
Or if that's the way they're
because
describing
there's another
it.
review there that referenced Daniel O'Donnell, and I'm not reading that one out. But it's very positive towards it. If there's a tap dancing scene where he fires knives out of his shoes, well, I'm all in.
How many knives could you keep in the sole of your shoe that you'd be able to
How many
fire?
rockets and bullets
you're
can you
all-
keep in a
you're
James Bond car? Stop trying to
unraveling.
pick
You're,
holes.
yeah,
We
you're
haven't
unraveling
seen it
these
yet.
things for
No,
God's sake.
I'm more trying to imagine.
Many
the
arrows
scene.
does Hawkeye have in that? At the back of the cover. Yeah, come on, you can't start.
Very,
creates
very
its
good
own.
question.
It
You
creates
can't
its
be.
own.
And who picks them up? What if a kid picks up
Picks
the
them-
arrow and hurts themselves?
There you go. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
There
He
you
should-
go.
I do.
he should
I
pick them all
meant
up.
more as I was trying to imagine a scene in my head. But everybody I know who's heard about this, who talks about this, completely talks about it tongue in cheek. And then when you say to them, "Are you going to go and see it?" They're all like, 100%.
Yes, it'll be a
100%.
big box office hit
We
if they
also
release
get
it.
behind it as Irish people.
We should. We should.
Anyway, stand by for the campaign. I'm I think at that point, though, you might actually be forcibly removed from the building, not by us.
I'm totally, if it doesn't come up here, I'm totally going to start a campaign. We need to see this movie, and I have a feeling the big screen is only going to make it even better.
Are you going to go and see Blackbird when it becomes available, if it's screened locally? 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that number. Also, tell us what else you've been watching. Did you go and see Black Phone? What did you think? What else have you been watching? All right. I seen these two in the cinema. What? It's like used to.
Oh,
I see the. No, it's nothing bad. I wouldn't really.
Oh, okay.
Black Phone.
What do you think we were doing in the cinema that would
Probably
be
fighting,
bad?
probably squabbling. You were picking up the
You're
chair, and I
always
was
just
like,
giving out
"Keep
to me."
quiet, for God's sake!" The
He
film
just gives out
started.
to me because I'm always talking.
You're like,
But anyway,
what's this button do?
Can you relax? The person's just saying it might be on about the films. Let me finish. I seen these two Egypts. No, it's about you two. No, I seen these two in the cinema. Black Phone plays closer to a thriller than a horror.
Yep.
Tell Fanula it's a Blumhouse Productions, and as always, they've delivered another solid original horror film. They also done Get Out, which you were a big fan of. I think you were still too afraid.
I would never
is
go
new
and see
and-
Get Out because
Nope.
the trailer alone makes me.
The
want
next
to
one from
pee myself.
Jordan Peele is Nope.
And
which I-
Paranormal Activity was also created by the same film company as Black Phone. So
Okay.
Oh,
it's
there
another
you
film
go.
I know you haven't watched.
Oh, did I watch Paranormal
And it's the
Activity?
same
That was
director
Nova.
as The Exorcism of, was it Emily Rose? That was a big.
Oh, yeah, I watched that one when I
Yeah,
came
well,
out.
that's same director.
It's like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's very the way it's shot and everything. It's kind of got that gritty 70s feel. Everything about it is it's very well
Look
done.
at horrors in your faces there. All right. Hey, is it just me or did anyone else think the new Jurassic Park film was awful? I watched a bit of it because it's available on that Sky Cinema thing. And I lasted about 20 minutes and switched off.
It's getting terrible.
It's
terrible
done and
reviews
dusted.
because I just feel bad about it because
Can I ask a question, right?
if you don't even like it in the cinema, you're
how-
never going to watch it on TV.
I was looking at the time. I know this doesn't matter, but this new film is about 30 years after the first film in
Yes.
the time order, right?
Yes.
So how did dinosaurs grow to such full capacity and then take over the Earth in such a short period of time?
Oh, because what happened in the first one, well, if you remember back in the beginning in the first one, you had the guy had developed them and he had found like in amber and he had created them as a genetic thing. Then in the second one, then they started, they kind of went back again because there was a big gap between the first and the second one. And it was that somebody had just kept them going on the particular island that they were on because they always talked about nuking the island, but then they never did. Then in the third one, a guy came along and he wanted to weaponize them.
Yes.
And then once they weaponized them, then he went into the next one then, which was the Chris Pratt one. And Chris Pratt then was training them and showing how smart they were. But they were also had been made more and more aggressive as you're going along. So then they were going to be sold then. And all of a sudden then they were going to be sold to different countries and different things like that. He then released them.
Now they've taken over the planet, though.
He's
How did they
he
breed so
released
quickly?
them into the world.
Well,
again,
can I, just
I
say,
wouldn't pull at that thread.
I am genuinely,
Yeah,
but he-
genuinely impressed at how you know the timeline.
You really do.
That
You
is-
really do.
That's the most impressive thing I've ever seen you do during this.
I think so too. Yeah, that was.
I used to
pretty much-
love Jurassic Park.
There's love. And
I
then
mean,
there's-
I know, but you also have to ask yourself more about how the dinosaurs. How is it that all of these guys who have been chased and eaten by dinosaurs for so long are still with us? Not one of them has grey hair. I mean, fair play. If I was almost eaten by a dinosaur, you'd imagine, people used to get that streak of white hair from the shock of what they've been through. Like, no,
not in this world.
no, they look awesome.
The terminal list is brilliant with Chris Pine. Pratt.
Yep.
Well, they've said Pine. The Black Phone, also good. Hi, Greg. I'd be interested to hear what your panel thinks about the opinion that all good sci-fi, dark or otherwise, are all really about family and relationships and are often surprisingly topical and deep.
Yes.
But all films kind of are.
Yeah, but I think sci-fi lends itself to being topical and deep. If it's like Star Trek
agree with the caller.
is the yeah, I would, yeah, definitely.
Well, the thing we're watching now on Disney, I want to say the Oracle, but it's not the Oracle. What am I doing?
Orville.
The Orville.
Yeah.
The Orville, which
Oh.
you should totally watch now that you're on Disney.
It's amazing.
And it is
Amazing.
the guy that does Family Guy and
Seth
all that kind of
MacFarlane,
thing.
yeah.
Seth MacFarlane. He again, kind of like Michael Flatley, he wanted to be in Star Trek. He wanted to be in Star Trek, and he wasn't getting any jobs in it.
Might be where the
It 100% is where the thing ends. But he wanted to be in like a Star Trek kind of an idea. He wasn't getting any jobs in it, so he went and he created his own. It's absolutely amazing. This it was on for like 2 series, and then it sort of disappeared. It was on FX, and if anybody who used to follow FX, that now it's back on Disney. They've started again. Each of the new episodes are like an hour and 15
minutes,
hour and 20 minutes. It is unbelievable the topics they're covering.
Yeah,
incredible.
It's incredible, and how well they're covering it. Set in a world that is so far, but like really topical stuff.
Yeah.
About people's rights, about all kinds of stuff.
Changing
but even
gender.
too, what was that? There was,
Trump
that's been happening for generations too. I can't remember the name of the film. We've talked about it before ages ago. No, it'll come to me. Anyway, listen, we're going to take a quick break because then we're going to be talking about how maybe some of our listeners might end up watching TV, and then we could be watching them watching TV, so you might know what we're going to be talking about.
Leisureland Redcastle, open every day from 12 to 6. Fantastic for family day trips. Excellent value for birthday party packages. For a wonderful family experience this weekend, check out leisurelandredcastle.ie.
Irish sun doesn't really count, right?
Look, we all deserve a bit of sun.
Skin cancer is the most common cancer in Ireland, so whether you're at home or abroad, protect your skin by following these sun smart steps. Slip into long loose clothes, slop on the sunscreen, slap on a sun hat, seek shade. Yeah, even on the cloudy days. Oh, and slide on the sunglasses.
I do have very funky sunglasses.
And I do love this hat.
Be Sunsmart from the HSE and Healthy Ireland.
Beat the cost of Brexit with no customs charges. Do you need a UK address for your limited company or personal use? Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. There's brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock, ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook at spacehubderry.com or call 04871 8780 for more details.
Country Sundays continue at the Clanry Hotel this weekend, featuring Jimmy Buckley and his band. Tickets €15, doors 8:15, dancing 9 till 11. Followed by music in McGettigan's Bar with Nigel Livingston. Coming Sunday the 31st, it's Derek Ryan. Contact hotel reception for overnight package details. Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel with Jimmy Buckley this Sunday.
New lump sum payment for farmers. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Average suckler and sheep farmer to get €14,000 per year in organic switch. Minister Ryan promises more money for farmers who change how they farm. We report on the ground from farmer protests in the Netherlands. In Irish Country Living, top money saving tips to help you manage your finances. And don't miss our Tullamore Farm Open Day next Tuesday.
Get full details inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal, on sale now.
Radio. So Googlebox Ireland is coming back to your screens thanks to Virgin Media Television, and they are looking for a cast. And we are joined now on the programme by Miriam Smith, casting producer at Gogglebox Ireland. I can't believe I'm still saying Gogglebox. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning, Greg. You're not the only person saying Googlebox Ireland. We get lots of applications with the same, so don't worry about that at all.
It's Goggle, and I correct myself every time, but I still say Googlebox. Are you completely recasting, Miriam, or are you looking for additional families?
Lord, no. We have some fabulous families already there, Greg. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to just add a couple of new households. We do it every year. So we have a wonderful bunch of people already there. But every year we just like to throw the doors open and see who else is out there and who might be interested in joining the cast. So we're not rebuilding from the ground up by any stretch of the imagination, just a couple of new faces.
No, I mean, it has to be cast because you want a variety of people with different interests that people can relate to in different ways. So what are the particular gaps, sorry to put it so crudely, that you're looking to fill?
No. Look, we're always happy to hear from anybody who's interested in taking part, but you're right, we do have a particular focus this year. One of the areas we'd love to explore is to chat to older men, and I suppose that means anybody kind of from 50 upwards. Might be someone who hangs out with a few lads to watch the match. It might be somebody who's hanging out down in the local men's shed a couple of times a week, or it might be a family with a granddad or an older dad. So older men, that's one category of people that we'd love to try and include this year. We'd also love to hear from families with brothers and sisters, because nobody winds you up like your own brothers and sisters. Nobody knows you so well. And we're also hoping to chat to long-term couples, so people who've put in a few years together and are very comfortable talking about things and giving their true opinions. They're not holding back.
And how much of it is, and I mean, this is so people can feel if they qualify, how much of it is really exactly how you are watching TV, and how much of it is, it's still natural, but a little, maybe just turning it up a little bit in terms of, reaction and banter and stuff?
You mean in terms of it being produced?
No, I mean from
filming,
us, I sit watching the TV, and I could. I wouldn't be very interesting for most of it, but sometimes I could say something that's quite witty. Are you looking for people that really?
Yeah.
Do you want them completely relaxed watching TV as they always are, or a little bit of hamming it up a little bit?
Hamming it up is the opposite, really, of what we're looking for.
Good,
So we're looking for people who are, So usually, Greg, you can imagine there are some people who just apply for every TV show that comes along, and that's the kind of person that probably won't suit Gogglebox. So people who are opinionated, certainly, and well able to chat, but it's not a performance. This is the real you sitting in your own house with your own family, with your own mug of tea in front of you, and giving your true opinion. So we really, really don't want to go down the road of people who are giving us the performance.
It wants to be real. It's real. You want to be peeping in through their window. I get you.
Absolutely. So as I said, it's like we take the roof off the house and we peep in and what's going on tonight. That would be kind of a good way of putting it. So people who are mad to get on the telly probably don't work out for Gogglebox. It's more people who kind of just love telly, love to watch it, don't necessarily really have a huge passion for being on it, but just like the show, like the format, and think they might give it a whirl this year. So we're dying to hear from some new people.
Is your inbox full of people nominating other people? And I wouldn't say it's just for shows like this. I see that goes on an awful lot, where people, whether it's because they think they'll be good at it, or it's for a bit of crack. Like, the majority of people that apply for programs like this, is it individuals applying for themselves, because that's what you want, of course, or is it others thinking, Greg or Fionnuala would be great for that, and nominating them?
We often find that the nominations don't work out because people will nominate a fella up the road, and then when you contact the fella up the road, he has no interest. And to be honest, people shouldn't be passing on other people's contact numbers. It's a waste of time. So we always ask people just to contact us themselves. And when they do contact us, it's really important that they tell us who they're going to be sitting on the couch with, because you can't do it on your own and you can't do it with the dog. So, you have to have at least one other person who's similarly chatty and has their own opinions. It can't be a one-man band with one person doing all the talking.
Has that ever been tried? It would actually be quite interesting.
I'll tell you, it has been proposed more than once. We've had more than one lad or lady who says, look, you don't need anybody else. I'll do all the talking. So it does happen.
Part of me would be interested to see the demo or the application. But anyway, so what do you want from people? So what do they need to apply, and where do they send it?
Yeah, so they can send us an email. So the first step is sending us an email, and our company is called Kite Entertainment, as in fly a kite. So the email address is casting@kiteentertainment.com. You can send us a few lines. You just need to tell us your full name and your age, tell us whereabouts in the country you're from, and then tell us who you're proposing you might do it with. So it might be your friends, it might be... Let us know who's in the gang and tell us a little bit about each person if you can. It's also great if you can tell us a little bit about what you like to watch and what you don't like to watch, because that helps us to get to know you a little bit. Unfortunately, as you can imagine, we get thousands of emails. We can't contact everybody. We simply don't have the time or the manpower. So if you've sent us an email with a little bit of info, that helps us to shortlist people and make those calls.
So be careful.
So the more you can tell us, the better.
You can jump out in that process. I think that's a good little insight.
You can, for us. Yeah, you absolutely can. The more info we have, the better able we are to kind of decide, okay, this is somebody now that we should have a chat with.
Yes, we've got some great chatty, members of the clergy in the Northwest. Wouldn't it be interesting if one of they and a friend applied or something?
Absolutely.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Miriam.
Thank you,
Take
Greg.
care of
Lovely to
yourself.
talk to you.
Too. Miriam Smith, casting producer at Gogglebox. I think lots of people think they could do it, but
I think so. But I do think they're missing a trick with the individual on their own.
I just think
I live alone and I watch TV on my own, and myself and the television have a lot of conversation because I have a lot of thoughts that I need to get out there.
That does not surprise
while I'm
me.
watching something.
That does not surprise me at all.
So you get the right person on their own, it could actually.
So come on, Northwest, do
could be
your
good.
thing. We want to get in behind you. It'll be great fun. Eric Roberts can't be that bad as he's Julia's brother.
Mhm.
I just think sometimes if you can't afford Julia, and you want a name on a poster,
He's good in his own right. I
Is
like
he?
her. He is, yeah.
Okay,
he is.
He's not great though.
He's good.
Is he?
He's
You
good.
wouldn't cast him as a lead baddie, would you? Unless your second name was Flatley, you've already got Michael down. Eric Roberts can't be as bad as Julia's brother. Although I did see a film on Sci-Fi last night called Megaboa, which must have been about a big snake, with Eric Roberts on top billing. Oh no! And then they say it was something else, so maybe it was a maritime. Had a maritime. Come here, we'll do the puns. All right, we'll do the puns. Oh,
I like that. I like
25,000. Greg, you'd be great at Googlebox. You could say you're 50 to fit the category they're looking for. You could tell them that you had some work done, and that's why you're so fresh-faced for a man of 50.
There you go.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There's a lot in that.
Keep that to one side. Thank you
That's
for saying
solid.
I'm lucky younger than 50.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
I don't think I would. I think it'd be boring sitting there with hand at me, trousers.
That would be the
snoring
thing.
on my
more thinking about
recliner.
that. I'd have to go and get a new couch. I know. I tend to slouch in the one that I have. You need to get one that makes you sit up straight.
Oh, terrible.
I'm not an Elvis fan, but I loved the film Elvis. I grew
Yeah.
up with a mother, your own, I wonder, who was a giant fan, so I had consumed a lot of his media. I just kind of this notion of them calling around to the neighbours. Do you know what I mean?
Any mother they could find.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Elvis, but I love the film. I grew up with my mother, who was a great fan, so I
Mhm.
had consumed a lot of his media content throughout my life, and I have to say, it was excellent. So that's a film. The early critics didn't like it, Michael, but
Yeah, they
they've
kind of came around on
they've
it, yeah.
swung it around. The Marksman's emotionally weighed story. Liam Neeson was great in it. Come out last year. The Mark. I didn't see that one.
No.
I don't think, did I?
I'm going to guess so if
Watched a
Liam
lot of
Neeson's
his
in it,
stuff,
it's
you
about
know.
revenge.
Yes, probably, yeah.
Any word on when his Donegal adventure is going to
No
hit the
idea.
screens?
I would imagine next year sometime. By the time they do post on all that, I presume through the. I don't know, but I'm assuming you've got a couple of months of post production.
You're the actor here.
Well, that's my expertise.
How many films have you been in now?
Let me count. 1. No, but 3 or 4, 4 or
Yeah, I
5.
know
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
more, but I wouldn't have asked. I know
Yeah,
you're-
I've been
you're
in a
more
few.
pro-
Yeah,
yeah,
a couple.
okay.
Yeah, long ones like cinema ones.
Just finished watching the undeclared war on More 4 set in the near future, where the
Oh.
UK is under cyber attack from Russia shortly after a pandemic, and how GCHQ fend them off. Pretty topical at the moment. Thought it was pretty good. Only 6 parts in season 1. You owed to that one, Fionnuala?
No, it's as Michael said, is on my list
Yeah.
to get going,
No,
and I was
it's
away
radar,
when it
really.
started.
Yeah,
but
right.
it's getting really good reviews, and it is available on
Yeah.
the player.
I read about that as well
They can
before it
watch
had started, and it was on my radar as well. I was like, "Ooh, that looks like something that would be worth watching."
strange.
So it's good to hear a good review of
People
it.
are really liking it, and it's
Yeah.
strange that they waited until summer to put it out because it's
Yes.
a time when people miss things. I
Yes.
don't know why.
Well, it's on demand. I don't know. You see, and I
Oh
wanna
no, it
ask
was
you-
on it was on TV as well.
It was
yeah,
on
it's
TV.
on demand now. Yeah, but
Yeah, but it was on-
I would have thought they'd get a better
See, they
reaction.
balance their live versus their the box set viewing stuff. The BBC,
Yeah,
big fans of that too.
well, this channel, the Channel 4, they made and produced this, but I would, if I was them, I would have held off until like September,
September,
October, when
yeah,
people
to
are
the
in watching stuff.
peak ratings. We assume.
But yeah,
anyway.
it's getting good, really good reviews.
All right, Kevin from Dunlow, good to have you on board again this
Mm-hmm.
week. Kevin, did Fionnuala ring for phone a friend after seeing Black Phone? And then he goes on to say, I thought Final Destination films were comedy horror, as I'm looking forward to, and also I'm looking forward to The Grey Man. They were.
Yeah, I get where he's coming
comedy
from.
horror in the screen sense.
Mm.
I think they were straight enough.
But they were sort of I've only seen
they
a
were
couple of them.
teenager-y,
They were
they were-
clever, they were deliberately
teenager thing.
contrived sort of way that it was kind of I could
Very
see
watchable,
the
you know. The
music.
backgroundy, they're quite good to watch, and some of the scenarios that play out are quite clever, and others are quite predictable. I might watch 1 or 2 of them tonight, you know.
Oh, okay.
I think it's with any of this stuff. It depends on the headspace you're in.
I've never seen the first one. I need to go back and watch the first.
I've watched films and TV shows where I was in the wrong headspace,
Yeah.
thought they were terrible, and went back and then thought they were great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it does happen.
It does happen, of course.
Right, let's take a quick break. Back with more from Michael and Fanula, and we'll get a look forward to the weather forecast for the next week after these.
With a smart meter, you can take full control of your home's electricity usage. But here's the important bit. Only if you sign up to an Electric Ireland smart meter plan. Our personalised usage insights will help you make the most of your electricity. So if you'd like to find out the perfect time to put on a wash or see how your bill's looking on any day of the month, search Electric Ireland smart meter plans and find out the best plan for your home. Smart meter required. T's and C's apply.
Experience everything this summer has to offer here at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, with a wide range of shops and services packed with great choice and value for you to explore. You can enjoy free parking, Wi-Fi and take a break with our popular outdoor seating area. Letterkenny Shopping Centre. We can't wait to see you.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Getting value on your shopping has never been more important. That's why at Super Value we have great offers like Super Value Fresh Irish Cowboy Steak save 33%, Faustino 5 Reserva Rioja 6-pack case deal only €50, and get new weekly money off vouchers on the Real Rewards app. For low prices that compete with anyone, it's got to be Super Value. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Dergfest Castle Derg, Saturday the 30th of July, featuring Sigma, KC Lights, plus support acts, all under the Big Top Tent. For ticket information, check out Dergfest Music Festival Facebook page. This ad is kindly sponsored by Castle Glass, Castle Derg.
Okay, you are very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Right, let's see what's happening weather-wise for this weekend, and a bit of speculation, or perhaps something a little bit firmer heading into next week. Alan O'Reilly of Carlow Weather. Alan, good to have you back on the show. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Doing fantastic. Right, okay. We've came through our hot period. We didn't see as much of it up the northwest as you were telling us, as others did elsewhere. But what does the next few days have in store for us, Alan?
Well, some good weather today for many areas of the northwest. Some sunny spells, and the rain should hold off until tonight. Unfortunately, the weekend is going to be a showery weekend, very showery weekend, with some heavy thundery downpours possible tomorrow. Especially later tomorrow evening, around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, it looks like there's going to be a band of heavy showers, but it's really going to be a showery weekend. Quite breezy at times as well, a bit gusty. Sunday will be similar again with more showers, but there will be some dry spells, so there will be opportunity between the showers. So it's kind of going to be a look at the weather radar and see where the showers are and try and find a gap in between them. Temperature is actually quite good up in the northwest for the weekend, 20, 21 degrees, but it's going to drop back to temperatures next week, but so will the rainfall. So some patchy rain on Monday possibly, but a very kind of much more dry spell than Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday. You couldn't rule out a shower, but definitely much less rainfall next week, with temperatures back to maybe 15 or 16, unfortunately.
And have we seen, I mean, what would history tell us? Have we seen the last of the hot weather? Is it possible we could get sort of like good a week or two good in August, maybe even an India summer in September? I think it's cold. Like, does history say that we can hold out some optimism? I know your forecasting models can't tell us that far ahead, Alan.
Yeah, but do remember that from a meteorological point of view, August is still another month of summer. So we still have another whole month of meteorological summer to come. So certainly there's still a chance of some fine settled and warmer weather. Some of the long-term weather models show a chance towards maybe the mid to end of August. So that's something to maybe just to hold in the back pocket as a bit of hope if you're heading on holidays.
And finally, Alan, what I've seen as a notice this year particularly seems to be a stubborn cloud. Do you know what I mean? Even through those 2 hottest days, the cloud was slow to clear and rolled in very quickly. You know, even about 5 or 6, and as soon as the direct sunlight was gone, the temperature dipped dramatically. What's happening there from a meteorological perspective across the northwest, where this cloud seems to just sit there when it burns off everywhere else?
Yeah, it's to do with the position of the high pressure, and unfortunately, while in the sunny southeast the high pressure has been quite close, in the northwest you've just been on the edge of it, and that cloud kind of gets trapped in underneath it, and it's just the high pressure hasn't really come up far enough really to give you that lovely sunshine that makes Donegal look splendid.
Yeah, and it looks splendid overcast. Alan, thanks so much indeed. Alan O'Reilly of Carlow Weather. You can follow him on Twitter and Facebook and elsewhere. Thanks, Alan. Good stuff. Take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. Okay, that's what we're looking at weather-wise. Okay. Michael and Fionnuala, of course, are still with us here. And what shall we talk about? There was something... before we get to more programmes... the head of Netflix, a lot of people reveling in the fact that they're losing subscribers left, right and centre. He thinks that scheduled TV, watching TV, and I notice soap operas are under huge pressure now because their audience is getting older and they're not able to replace that audience with a new audience. And that's sort of the staple, I think, of scheduled TV on the terrestrial channels. Do you think in 10 years' time, Fionnuala, is planned programming finished other than live sports or live events?
To be honest, I do think that's the way it's kind of going, and that seems to be what people like. They like things. We're gotten very, I suppose, selfish in that way, as in we like it the way we like it, and we want to absorb it whatever way we want, and it doesn't matter what anybody else. I personally still like the idea of knowing that you're sitting down on a Monday or a Wednesday at 9 o'clock and you have to wait that week. If it's a really good show, it's worthy of that week wait and that week conversation, because I have a tendency to binge whenever if I get into something and it's available. So I do think it is heading in that direction.
See, my eldest 2 boys have never watched television.
Yeah.
In
the traditional sense.
We're talking. They've never watched television.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want the ads.
I don't know if they're normal.
No, I think they are.
I think they are. I would say so.
That's what it is. They're all watching stuff.
I mean, we grew up watching, as you say, set programs at set times every week, and there's now a generation coming up, and it's lit like if you compare it to reading books, it's almost like when you buy a novel, you can read it anytime you like. Why would you imagine that you could only read a chapter or 2 of a novel at 9 o'clock every Monday? That's their mentality. It's like, no, it's there. The episodes are there. You watch them.
They were reading.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, yeah. So, having said that, though, I mean, particularly in America, there's still the audience is dwindling, but there's still a sizable audience for the set shows. Like Grey's Anatomy is a set time every week for 22 weeks out of the year. Law and Order for 22 weeks out of the year. That's still a big thing in America. Yes, the ratings are not what they were 25 or 30 years ago, but it hasn't gone away yet.
I'd be afraid, though, that the reason that we are the last of that audience. You know what I mean?
That
we are the last of that kind of
any
generational.
listeners out there, do you... are you young people watching TV now? And obviously, football's on, we watch that, and live sport and other live events. But I mean, are younger people sitting down and watching TV, or they're watching it on demand or watching YouTube? I don't think my house is particularly unique in that regard, but it's just not a thing. It's just never been a thing. So
I think it's the same with most. Even I see my siblings with their kids now, and they never think to even just put on for the smaller ones the cartoon channel or just to see what's on it. It's like they go straight to Netflix, straight to Disney, straight to whatever they're watching.
And the young ones too, as I said with the soap operas, they're struggling to put in storylines that are relevant to younger people. But I don't think they're doing it in a very good way. I think it's younger people would look at it and go, "Oh, look, they're trying to talk to us." Do you know what I mean? And I think they're really struggling in that regard. Okay, is there anything that either of you particularly want to talk about, or should I pick something that you're both watching? Or
you're.
The Railway Children actually might be an interesting one
right,
to chat because it's in the cinema. The Railway Children Returns is a new film that's in the cinema, right? And Jenny Agutter is in this. And it's a sequel to The Railway Children from 1970, and she's returning to play the same character. And I think that's unusual in that you have a 52-year gap between the first film and the second film. The Railway Children, which I watched last night, it's one of those perennial classics I think that everybody probably has seen growing up. set in 1905.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, years ago when we were younger, when it used to be on TV all the time.
All the time. And you've seen it?
Accurate statement, no.
You've seen it? No?
2-1, you're right. Go
Okay,
ahead.
fair enough. Okay. So 3 children, 1905. Their father is arrested and the family falls on hard times. And they go to the Yorkshire countryside and they have very low stakes adventures in and around a railway station. And it's a really sweet, charming film, as I can attest having watched it last night. The British Film Institute regarded as one of they listed it as one of the 100 greatest British films ever made, and it's a perennial classic. So going back and doing a sequel is pretty brave. But the fact
foolhardy
and there's very few reviews out there. Apparently Mark Kerwood has said it's very good, but as of this morning, and I looked, there really is no reviews out there. It's brand new. It's in the cinema this week. I've watched the first one because it's on Apple if anybody wants to revisit it or whatever, and it's in the cinema, the new one, as of this week. And I think I'm going to see it in the next 7 days. That's my plan, because I think it'll be interesting. I love Ginny Aggerter from Logan's Run, American Werewolf in London, so many films.
Okay, so you probably have a review of that for us next week.
That's the plan.
Yeah, okay. Harry Wild on RTE.
Yeah,
it's nice to get sort of a terrestrial show in there now.
Absolutely. Just when we were talking about Surviving of TV, this was kind of in my head to watch because Jane Seymour is in it, and I loved her, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. She can do no wrong in my eyes. She may have ruined that for me. But what actually was very exciting was because I met Peter Claffey, who is an people who are into rugby would know. He's an ex-Connacht rugby player, now turned his hand at acting. And I met him at the weekend in Galway, and he is the bad guy in this week's Harry Wild. So it was interesting to see how and actually he's not a bad actor at all. So well done, Peter Claffey. But the programme is kind of sort of a Murder, She Wrote, Father Brown, Sister Boniface, that kind of a feel to it. But it's set in Dublin. So Jane Seymour plays Harry Wild. She's a professor. She's retiring. All of a sudden then her son is a guard. She suddenly gets mugged. Then instead of reporting the young fella, he becomes her sidekick in this whole thing. There's the guy in the pub that gives them information that doesn't really is helpful. All the crimes are interrelated with literature that she's read and taught and all this kind of thing. So it's that sort of the way is in there's movies out there that are like this on Hallmark and
well, they have a whole strand of them.
They have a whole strand of movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's very kind of light. It's there on a Wednesday. It's very easy watch. There's a couple of accent issues that I have with it.
Well, we know that's a little bugbear of yours.
I know, it comes up along the way. Emir Huberman is in it as well.
So it's well cast.
There's loads. There's some excellent actors in it. It's definitely, if you're looking for something that's kind of light, if you like that kind of light, that sort of a light entertainment, like I said, that's what it is. It's in a weird spot, the fact that it's on a Wednesday, because that's the one thing everybody says. It's actually a real Sunday evening, end of the weekend type of thing.
Sounds like McDonald and Dodds
Harry
kind of thing.
Wild, come here. Are you excited for the All-Ireland final? Obviously, heading from Galway. Family up to Hydo, I'm sure.
Family up to Hydo. If anybody has any tickets, I could name people who will buy them for
extortionate amounts
of money. Okay. They're coming home. All the rabbits are coming home from every country in the world that they've landed in order to see. It's very exciting. Fingers crossed.
Can't wait for it.
First time.
Excellent. All right, we hope. I hope Galway win anyway.
So
Michael Leddy, thank you so very much. Great to see you again. Thank you very much indeed. And Fanula Rabbit, thank you very much as always. And we'll see you next week. Okay, that's the programme for this week. Thanks to Caroline Orr, who researched and produced the programme, and Donna Marie, who worked on the programme, particularly on the digital side of things. We'll be back with you, all being well, bright and early Monday morning at 9. Stay tuned, because John